Let's get to it, people. The 4 most electrifying hours in sports talk entertainment start right now. Welcome in. It is the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Happy, I believe it is Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. Good job.
Thanks. Happy July. I need to know how it is that 2 weeks ago, I was asking all of you, hey, everybody, what you doing for New Year's Eve? And now we're halfway through 2025. We are officially halfway done with the year that started 2 weeks ago.
All right, so it's an easy explanation, and it's a number, 40.
I know.
And
It's
people
this.
say, and you know, as you're getting older, a little bit older, you're like, yeah, you guys are exaggerating. It doesn't do that. There's no way that time goes by quicker and quicker as you get older, but it absolutely does.
It absolutely does. And it is something for you Utes out there that make the Rob Brown Show a part of your routine. Please know, and I mean this. I wish somebody would have said this to me. I'm sure they did, and I just didn't listen. So lock in with me here for just a second, okay? I know it sounds like one of those okay boomer takes, but trust me on this. Appreciate now where it feels like the days take forever and the weeks drag on and months are years and years are decades. Because you're going to get to a point. You're going to get to a point where you look and you go, 2025 started 2 weeks ago and we are halfway done. It does not make sense. Now, I read a theory at one point that said that we as creatures, we as animals, we as primates are designed, wired, whatever you want to say there, for latching on to milestone moments, latching on to big moments, latching on to memories. And when you're a Ute out there, a lot of what you do is either something you're doing for the first time or something that you appreciate for what it is. But as you get older, your life becomes consumed with just whatever it takes to survive, right? It is about work to pay the bills, and then it is about paying the bills, and then it is about taking advantage of those little 15, 20, 30-minute breaks between doing adulting that become your thing. But because you've got so much else going on, those 15, 20, 30-minute breaks really just become about not doing anything. And, of course, when you're doing nothing, it's not memorable. And so you're creating these blocks of time in your life where nothing memorable, there's nothing memorable. There may be memorable moments at work, but like you're not going to get to the deathbed and be like, gosh, I remember that day back in July of 2025 where I had a regular mundane day of work. What a special day. It's not. Special moments are what create memories, and memories are what kind of slow down time for you. And unfortunately, as you get older, you start to get to the point where your special memories become fewer and further between. And so those moments that make you kind of stop and look and appreciate life and force time to slow down for just a minute so you can kind of breathe it in, they're not as common anymore. The wife and I were talking yesterday or the day before. I don't know, because time's not real. It's just a blur. And I've told you a couple of times, like, we're going down to Mexico to wrap up the year. Towards the end of the year, myself, her, another couple that we're friends with, and some of their friends, we're all going down to the beach in Mexico to spend a week, all-inclusive resort, child-free all-inclusive resort. Going to be an amazing week. And we were kicking around plans for this, and I'm like, you know what kind of sucks? Our next big plan isn't until the end of December. That's our next big plan, which means July, August, September, October, November, and the entire first half of December, we're kind of like, we're just going about our day, right? And she goes, wait a minute. What are we doing for our first anniversary? And I said, well, that's not until September. And she goes, that's like less than 3 months away. It's like 2.5 months from now. It's like 2.5 months from now. And I looked and I said, no. We just got married 3 weeks ago. Then we had the new year and now here. And then I went, oh, damn, it is July already. You are correct. It has been 10 months effectively since we got hitched. All that work and energy and effort and money we put into that event, it was over like that. Great memory. I wouldn't change a damn thing about it. Great memory. Yet that night felt like it went by in like 2 hours. And now it's been almost 10 months since that happened. So it's dumb.
You don't consider work things moments? I mean, you're getting ready to go to SEC Media, and you said you've never been there before. That's a moment.
I agree. And I promise you at some point while I'm there's going to be a moment where whether it's the first time or whether it's the night that they close it down for only us, whatever, there will be a moment where I'm going to stand in that lobby looking up at that wall of helmets that they have as kind of the first room, the walk-in room. And I promise you I will drink that moment in. But here's the thing. That is still 2 weeks from now. And that's the only thing right now, that is the only thing in the life of Rob Brown that I know coming up between here and December. I know that is going to be a moment. And it's a moment I'm setting myself up for, and I hope I don't do that thing where I talk myself into believing it's going to be this monumental thing, and I walk in and I'm like, oh, that's cool, and I kind of oversell myself on it. But that is going to be an incredible moment. But here's the thing. I'm there 4 days, and then I come back here, and then what? Then it's just back to the the day-to-day.
See, here's the problem with your philosophy, at least for me. You're not a live for the day. You're a live for the moment guy, and you got to learn to live for the day. Every day is amazing. It's dark now, but the sun is starting to come up. That's an amazing thing.
What'd you do yesterday?
Not everyone gets it as far as what? I got to be.
No, wait. Hang on. There was a second half to that question.
Okay.
What did you do yesterday that in 5 years you're going to look back at the last day of June and go, what a memory? Nothing. You didn't do anything yesterday. That's a memory.
Sure I did.
No, you didn't.
I spent time on 4 hours on a wonderful award-winning program. I'm going to remember that.
What we talked about in the opening segment yesterday.
I remember you getting mad and storming out. I'm going to remember that for a while. Those are going to.
Okay, well, that's a daily occurrence.
Yeah, but there are some worse than others, and those are going to stand out. I remember those kind of things more so than I do major moments anymore. Because my memory is failing. And if your memory is failing, you need to, I mean, it's not tomorrow, who are you? Why am I here? At least I hope not. But there are little things that are going bye-bye. And that's going to happen to everybody or most people as they get older. They're going to forget little things. But I can still remember stuff that happened in the third grade. But I can't remember names. Like I can't remember Kyler Murray's name half the time.
That's my point, though, is that like when you are a kid, just about everything that happens like this it's a first time thing, or you have that childhood wonder about a thing, and so it sticks in the memory. When you get older and you become an adult, the overwhelming majority of your life is just consumed by the mundane that you must do day to day. And it's a wonderful world of idealism to live in and be like, I need to make every moment a cherished memory. But the reality
I'm excited for you getting to go to SEC Media Days because you've never been there before.
Again,
I have no desire to go there myself because of the travel and all the stuff that's going to entail. And actually there are people there, which kind of bothers me, but you're going to get to do that for the first time. And you may act like you're not excited about it, but you're excited.
Wait, time out, because you do this thing where I say a thing and then you say the opposite of the thing I just said. I am very excited about that. That is a milestone moment.
Isn't that
As
what
I
we're
said,
supposed to do?
when I walk into the front door and I see the wall of helmets, I promise you it will likely be, and this is going to be judge away, it is going to be emotional for me to be in that building, and especially knowing I'm in the building for the reason that I'm in the building.
And listen, I didn't say anything different.
17 years of the grind in this career has led to a point where they are shutting that building down for me and a select group of other people to have a very special experience, and I'm very excited about it. The point is that I still have today and tomorrow And then we have the Thursday. Now, Friday's cool because it's the 4th of July. Somebody's throwing a big barbecue. Me and the wife, obviously, we got off. So, like, we're going to go do a tailgate and a party, and we're going to watch daytime baseball and drink a bunch of cold beers around the pool. That's going to be a great day with the friends. Big memory, that's great. But then we do Saturday, and it's another day of work and watching baseball. And then it's Sunday, mundane day. Then I got another Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, where it's just go to work, do the thing, go home, pay the bills.
Dude. See, this is the thing that bothers me. It's like you don't recognize that what we're doing is not a real job to most people.
I do recognize
and that every day we are talking potentially thousands and thousands and thousands of people who have to go and be out in this heat today. And every day they wake up going, man, am I going to die of heat stroke today? Am I going to do that kind of stuff? Every day is a moment because we get to do stuff that most people don't get to do.
I
don't take it for granted. I think every day they're going to come in and go, hey, come on, you made a mistake.
Again, I understand, as I say all the time, how fortunate I am to do a job. I make this point to people all the time. How many of the people in your life would love to switch jobs with me? The answer is probably most of them. Probably
until they see the pay, and then they're like,
maybe so. But again, I've been doing this 17 years, and it ain't like the pay has been going up and up and up. I do it because I love doing this, and I get to do all these really cool things that nobody else really has access to or gets to do. Like one night in July, they're going to shut down the College Football Hall of Fame for like me and 60 other people. And we have free run of the place to do and learn and talk and experience and take pictures and get tours and yada, yada, yada. And it's going to be, I understand that. At the same time, I do not think that there is anything wrong with recognizing I'm in a place of doing something awesome. I'm privileged to do it, but also go, this is probably in my lifetime 10,000th show. Like, it's another show. Am I going to bust it? Am I going to give my all? Absolutely. And next week, if you catch me 1 week from today and you go, hey, Rob Brown, what'd y'all talk about on the show last Tuesday? I'm going to go, I don't remember, dude. That was last Tuesday.
You'll remember that we talked about memories. So for sure you're going to remember this day.
We'll find out a week from today. All right.
Would you like me to remind you?
No, thank you.
I'll probably forget.
I'll probably remember it. We got a lot we need to get to today on the radio program. We had the opening of NBA free agency yesterday. Kicked off about 6 o'clock. I was on the air with the BetMGM Network till 7.
Do you remember this much movement? Because it seems like more movement than I remember, at least in recent memory.
I would say yes, but I also think that this is, like we were just talking about yesterday, a lot of these moves, I think, are moves that you look at and you go, like, okay, all right. Like, there's a couple that jumped out, like Kayvon Looney leaving Golden State, 3-time champ with the Dubs, and he's just kind of done, right? Like, it's just kind of over. And a lot of these signify something else. Looney leaving Golden State with the position they're in, maybe I'm being dramatic. Doesn't that kind of feel like a trigger that dynasty's cooked? Kind of feels like the Warriors, as we have known them, are kind of over. And that's as somebody who's, although I'm anti-Draymond, I'm very pro-Steph Curry. And so the Dubs dynasty, to me, just kind of feeling like it's over because in the middle of well, I won't say the middle of the night.
Wait. Dynasties require championships. When's the last time they won one of those?
Well, okay, the team that was a dynasty that we wondered if there's 0%
I'm just saying, they've
chance.
been fading for a while. They're never going to be truly gone until Steph retires.
I don't
Once
disagree.
he retires, then speaking of memories, I can try to forget him completely.
I think that, heck, gosh darn it, son of a sassafras. For whatever reason, I don't know why I turned, okay. This year, going into the playoffs.
You weren't corny until you continued, but you got there.
This year, we got to the gosh darn NBA playoffs. I really thought Steph Curry and the Dubs had a chance to make a run, but then Steph got hurt in that, second round series, or opening round series? I don't even remember, because I don't remember things. Steph Curry got hurt, and they fell out. But they were playing some of the best basketball in the NBA during the last 3 weeks of the season. They were playing pretty good basketball into and opening the playoffs until Steph got hurt, and then they fell apart. So I think there was at least a little bit of it's still in the tank. And maybe it's going to take another piece. And maybe this is the piece. Maybe they looked at it and they went, Kayvon Looney's like not the guy that's going to be able to play the role that Steph needs him to play underneath. But Looney was there when they were the dynasty of the NBA. When they were getting, 3 out of 4, 3 out of 5 titles. Looney was part of that. And now he's just like not only just gone, but he's gone to New Orleans like a 2-year, $16 million deal, right? Like it's not like he went to
happy
New
about
York.
That? Are you welcoming him?
Yeah, I think so. The guy's still got some ability. We've now got a couple of 5s on the roster because we've got Avis, the rookie we took out of A&M last year, who I think it works because here you bring in a 7-footer who played the middle on a multi-time NBA champion, and over here I got this rookie who was good last year, but like he's very clearly very rough around the edges. Guy didn't play a lot of basketball until he got to college. Kind of one of those success stories where, grew up, didn't really know a lot of ball, didn't play a lot of ball, got to high school. They're like, hey, idiot, you're 7 foot tall. Get your ass on the basketball court. And then they go, hey, you're pretty good at this. So now I got a 3-time NBA champion who was part of a dynastic run to come down and kind of mentor the next guy. I think that's really, really, really good. And on top of that, I think having the ability to have a 7-footer in the game for all 48 minutes, that takes the pressure off of Zion, right? Like I don't need Zion to go be a post guy anymore. I can play him at the natural 4 that I want him to play at, and he's got that help both at the point with Jeremiah Fears from Oklahoma and now alternating 7-footers. Or you do like Oklahoma City did a couple of times. You send in both 7-footers. Good luck, right? We got a small team. We're playing Atlanta. Good luck, Porzingis. We're sending 2 dudes down there taller than you are. So I'm not unhappy with it. In fact, actually, I'll take that back. I am pretty excited about it. The only issue I have is I think the Pelicans are going to be a mid-team. I really hope they do make some sort of run this year because we gave our first-round pick to Atlanta to go get Derek Queen up out of Maryland.
Not being mean here, but a mid-team is a step up, isn't it?
A dramatic step up from a lottery team that had better odds than they ended up drafting with number 8. We'll talk about that because, as long as I pointed out, I turned on. This was a mistake. I turned on yesterday because it was the opening of NBA free agency. I turned on the Shams Wow notifications. I turned on the notifications from all the NBA reporters that I follow on X. I'm like, yo, call me, beat me if you want to reach me. Ding me when one of the boys drops a tweet. And I was on the air from 6 to 7 on the network. We didn't schedule anything in the final hour. We're like, no sense in doing this. It's NBA free agency. Moves are going to be coming in. We'll just address the moves as they happen. Got to be 6:30. I'm like, yo, somebody check on Shams. Like, Shams is dead. He's not tweeting anything. And then we got off the air at 7:08, ping, 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 and then it was just absolute chaos into the evening. So we got a lot of moves across the NBA yesterday that we need to address. I was looking at some college football stuff yesterday, and apparently I missed the boat because apparently yesterday was the day that everybody in broadcasting was supposed to put out their list of 10 most exciting games of opening day or of the season or involving potential playoff day. You were supposed to put out some list of 10 most exciting games of blank yesterday. I saw Pate did it. I saw Kirk did it. I saw, what's the dude over at Fox? I saw like 5 or 6 of these lists yesterday. So I want to look at some of them and evaluate. You know why? Because it's hashtag peak off season. That's why.
No, it's pre to the pre, man. Well, it's 2 weeks away,
yes,
dude.
Hashtag peak off season. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to get to. Talk some WNBA, talk some Atlanta Braves, because they got 12 games in 13 days to determine if they go to the postseason 3 months from now. All that more coming up. Rob Alonzo and you. The Rob Brown Show is live on the Fan Upstate. All right, good morning, everybody. I'm going to be putting this on break during commercials because I got like 10 more clips to upload. So do me a favor. Stay right there. We'll return ever so briefly. You're all amazing. BRB. Texture says, want to talk about the weather next, old man? No, I do not. Mainly because the weather makes my knees hurt. Till it's going to rain today. I say that. Lonzo actually says that. He sits over in that chair and he's like, going to rain today.
Yep, sounds just like that.
I know.
Just having a rough day yesterday. You asked what I did yesterday. Well, I was in pain because it's going to rain today.
It's only kind of a joke. The only joking part was the accent. Everything else was.
Oh no! As you get older, especially if you have a bunch of old sports injuries, you really feel them. So
I do, but I haven't gotten to it's going to rain my knees hurt level yet.
Yeah, because you lost
Ain't there.
you lost a lot of weight. That helps.
Fair enough.
I found it. So yeah, it hurts.
All right, we got a lot. We got to get to. Yesterday, after we got off the air, I was filling in, as I will be today, tomorrow, and Thursday as well, on BetMGM's You Better, You Bet, which airs from 3 to 7 on the BetMGM network. It is ordinarily hosted by Nick Costos, and it's a big show. That show is actually picked up on the NBC Sports Network from 6 till 7 p.m. So I was actually on national TV yesterday live from the Bro Cave. Pretty dope. And we were talking, obviously, about the NBA free agency period, which opened at 6 p.m. And Jared, who I was co-hosting with yesterday, when we got into the 6 o'clock NBC Sports Go Power Hour, which you got to say it with some sort of funny inflection on it, right? So we got into that hour.
That just made me want to listen.
Right,
I mean,
you should. It's great. It's great. We'll be on it again today. Jared's real good dude, knows his stuff, and also I'm there. So we got into the NBC Sports Go Power Hour, and we were talking about the NBA because we really thought that we were going to start seeing a flurry of activity. Now, we did, but it was at 7 o'clock after we went off of the air. Very unfortunate. So, he said to me, with really just a few moves having been made, and none of them necessarily like world-breaking, he said, Rob Brown, what's the most interesting thing about the NBA free agency period so far to you? And I said, well, as we have not really had any blockbuster moves yet, I think there's a few things. I think it is very evident, and I am interested to see how this plays out, that the teams in the East know that the East is wide open next year. Boston's got to blow it up. No Tatum this year, no chance. No chance. They already sent Porzingis out of town. Derek White, I think, is next. He will be probably on the move. They got him for like $32 million this year. Is Derek White without Jason Tatum worth $32 million? My answer is no. You've got the Pacers, sans Tyrese Halliburton. They got a lot of money on the books for not this year, but next year. Is it worth it to hold pat on the team as is, coming off of an appearance in the NBA Finals, sans Tyrese Halliburton, who we know is not available next year with that Achilles snap? Do you keep the Tyrese Halliburton version of this team together without Tyrese Halliburton? Do you go, you know what, we're going to stink next year? And we know we're going to stink next year because while Pascal Siakam Pascal Siakam in the playoffs, I caught myself, shut up, while Pascal Siakam in the playoffs played good ball, I also broke down multiple times throughout the playoffs that if you really dive into the X's and the O's of where Pascal Siakam's flurries were coming from, they are all directly connected to Tyrese Halliburton. And if they weren't directly connected to Tyrese Halliburton, they were connected to T.J. McConnell. T.J. McConnell, good little bulldog, good little number 2 point guard, good little guy to plug in there when Tyrese isn't available. He is not your number 1 point guard for 81 games in a regular season. I love the kid. Very good. He's not your number 1 point guard for a full season. So if you're the Pacers, do you go, when we get Tyrese back, we're going to be great, but we don't get him back this year, so we're just going to keep the team as is, and we're going to go win 30 games, and we're going to get a top 15 pick, and then... I was
going to say, there's no guarantee you're going to get a number 1 pick because, unless the NBA decides that you want to get
there is not because of the lottery, but you can again, and I don't even know what they'll be without Tyrese. I don't think they're anywhere near a championship, but the point is, They're probably not in contention in the East. I do not think the Bucks are in contention without Damian Lillard. So I look, and would you look at that? The Atlanta Hawks make a couple of more moves yesterday. They keep adding to the roster. And I got to tell you, I like Atlanta a lot. We had a couple of basketball on hosts yesterday because it was basketball day yesterday. And I asked all of them, how do you feel about the Atlanta Hawks with the addition of Porzingis and Asa Newell through the draft, picking up the Pelicans unprotected number 1 next year? And everybody's like super high on Atlanta moving forward, which was my take going into it. So that's interesting. Detroit, Orlando, making moves. Now, I also said to Jared, who I was co-hosting with yesterday, you know me. I do my best not to devolve the show into a TMZ sports style show. But I also think when things happen in sports that it feels like there's a little drama around it that could have an impact on the field, on the floor, on the court, whatever. It's got to get brought up. We talked about yesterday the fact that LeBron James signed a 1-year player option to stick with the LA Lakers in 2025-26. Did you notice something interesting about this, though? Hey, Zoe, did you hear a word from actual LeBron yesterday?
No, and people were going crazy, including that weird guy on ESPN.
Oh, on ESPN. Okay, yeah, no, definitely not on this show or BetMGM Network.
We can fight on who's weirder.
Now, that is not the only thing that is interesting, because that I could go, hey, man, LeBron just signed a 1-year, $56 million deal. I'd be off, hammering back silver tequila in a pool on Taco Tuesday on a Monday, too. I get it. But you know who I would expect to hear something from? The LA Lakers. Did you see anything? Did you hear anything from the Lakers?
Well, it's brand new owners. They're in team and they're still moving into their offices and stuff. So I mean,
press releases, got to have the whole office ready to go to put out a press release that says, "Hey,
absolutely.
You guys know that dude that we've been working to make the face of our franchise in the league for the past 7-8 years running. He's back."
A good business operates when the machine is in place, and it's just not in place yet.
Well, like a fax machine, like a printer. Like a laptop? What are we talking about here?
It's a metaphor.
I know. Here's the thing. If LeBron is to the Lakers, what the Lakers have been saying for 6-7 years now he is to the Lakers, you'd think they'd at least put out a press release that says, hey, Bron's back. We're running it back one more time again. We're in. But here is the problem.
He signed a contract, right?
He signed his player option, yes. Again, what is the NBA? It's a show above all else. What the hell are the Los Angeles Lakers? It's always a production.
Okay. So complaints have been lodged throughout the last couple months about all anyone ever talks about are the Lakers and the Cowboys. And now you're complaining that there are no Lakers news.
That is not what I'm doing.
It sounds like it.
Great. Let me finish where I'm going, and then you'll see where I'm going.
Okay.
Here's where I'm going. I don't think all is well in Tinseltown. I don't think all is well under the big, bright lights of Los Angeles, California. And here's why I say that. Because after Bron signed his 1-year player extension to opt in for 1 more year with the Lakers, and you remember this all comes after the hullabaloo of his comments about ring culture on the Steve Nash podcast a couple of weeks ago that we were talking about last week on the show. After he talked about how ring culture is overrated and we should be gauging guys on their talent and their ability to play well in a team game, which, by the way, I agree with all of it, there was another set of comments that got brought up from Rich Paul, LeBron's agent. He said 2 things because he is, not LeBron, not the Lakers, the only one who said anything about this. After a after a 13-day period from the end of the playoffs to the start of NBA free agency, where a lot of folks were saying, is LeBron coming back? Does he have multiple years? Is it 1 year? Is it one final run? Do we get a real farewell tour? Yada, yada, yada. He says, yeah, I'm coming back. And the only person who had anything to say about it was Rich Paul. And Rich Paul said two things. He said, number one, we signed the player option because it's the equivalent of signing a 1 year deal. And we don't know that LeBron's got more than one left in the tank. This might be it, and it might not be. And then he said, number two, that LeBron's intention is entirely top to bottom and nothing else to win a title next year. That's it. He wants to play for a contender. And Rich Paul issued a thinly veiled word of caution to the LA Lakers, which I don't think is about next year. I think it's the year after that. You want me back. You want me to stay here. You want to keep the most visible athlete on the face of planet Earth that plays not soccer in here. You better build a championship team around me, because right now, let's keep it a buck, the Lakers have not. They got one cat yesterday, effectively. They lose Dorian Finney-Smith. Fine, not a big loss. But they go get a six-man off the bench from Sacramento, and that's it. That's the move. I think all of that yesterday, with Rich Paul being the only one saying anything, and with him saying, we signed a 1 year deal because we don't know if LeBron is sticking around after that. I don't think he meant 1 year in the tank as in 1 year and then LeBron retires. I think he means one more year in LA, and if we don't get it done here, he makes one more run, whether it's back in Cleveland or somewhere else, maybe with Giannis in Milwaukee, whatever. I think what he meant was, if the Lakers don't field a contender around LeBron next year, or excuse me, this upcoming season, LeBron does have one more, but it will not be in LA. He will bounce to go chase a ring somewhere else, which means that the brand new owner of the Lakers is in the heater already. Am I reading too much into this? No, I'm right. Watch. We'll see it play out. Rob Lonzo and you, The Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, one more break to record some sound. We'll be right back. Stay right there for me. You're amazing. Bye. Hey, good morning indeed. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you.
Daniel Diggins!
Sucker! We got a lot going on, a lot to get to, a lot to talk about here on the radio program. But, as we approach SEC Media Days, which we will be live from the College Football Hall of Fame on July 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th, Monday through Thursday, we're going to talk a lot of college football. Yesterday, I was flipping around the internet because that's what I do. I don't go outside and touch grass. I just listen to other people yell into microphones. It's one of my favorite things. And I came across this clip from Todd McShay on his social media. It's from his podcast, The McShay Show, because he and I both absolute branding geniuses. And, I'll just play the clip for you. Here's Todd McShay. I didn't change my thing back from doing my audio editing, Lonzo. That's my bad. Let me try that one more time again.
Wow, that never happens.
I know. Here, from his podcast, The McShay Show, here is Todd McShay.
I can't coach what he's got, man. This guy's a bigger Jalen Hurts in my mind. And I want you to remember where Jalen was at Alabama as in his first year as a starter. Mm-hmm. There were flashes. There were some amazing things, but he was a hell of a lot better as a runner than he was as a passer, right? He's 2 inches taller than Jalen. He's 20 pounds heavier than Jalen, yet he's just as fast and he's just as sudden. And when he's playing with confidence, he's just as creative. That's it. Yeah. Like, that creativity is so dangerous, and you can't coach that. Okay? You can't. You can't coach what Jalen has. You can't coach what Lenoris has. You can't coach what Lamar has. You just can't. You either have it or you don't.
I'm ready to go, I guess, bigger. Jalen Hurts is awesome, so don't get me wrong. I think this kid could be Josh Allen. Like, I see Josh Allen because I see that frame. He's that much bigger. When you look at how big this guy is and what he can do.
I just think he's twitchier and doesn't have the arm of Josh. I think he has a damn good arm.
Man, I don't know.
Josh Allen's arm?
Yes. I don't know, man. I know it's the ceiling. I know Lenore Sellers isn't there yet. I get it. But the raw ability, the tools, the talent, I mean, it's exciting.
So Todd McShay and his co-host there say Lenoris Sellers reminds them today of an early Jalen Hurts, but bigger and stronger. And you'll remember Jalen Hurts had a run there at the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. Had himself a run there to the national championship, dadgummit. And
he also got benched, right?
Yeah, but he also made a comeback, and then he got sent. They went out to Oklahoma, and now there's a big fight about who really gets to claim him, and yada, yada, yada. I don't know if you know this. He won a Super Bowl not too long ago.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
So, Lenore Sellers, they say, is in that conversation. And then they have another comp, which is because of his size and ability to move with the football, although they debate whether the arm of Lenore Sellers qualifies to be in this conversation, they comp him to one Joshua Allen of the Buffalo Bills. This is really interesting. Because as I've said a few times, I am all the way the bleep in on Lenore Sellers. I am all the way in on Lenore Sellers. I think I saw, and it was the Clemson game, I think, that triggered this for me. It was not the Clemson game. It was the fourth quarter of the Clemson game for me. Now, I do remember very well as we got towards the end of that football contest. I was obviously watching with the wifey at the time. But, I got the boys. And most of the boys are Clemson dudes. And we got our little group text going back and forth. And I remember, I think it was Joey B, as a matter of fact, friend of the show, Joey B. I remember Joey B jumping into the chat and saying, this is going to be the end. this is going to be the end of Wes Goodwin as the defensive coordinator. And I said, why? And he said, because we're not defending this guy the way he needs to be defended. And Joey B was going through his defensive strategies. I would do this against him, and I would do that, take this away, force him to do that, yada, and all good stuff. Like all stuff that, as a knower of ball, I would say, yeah, no, ordinarily I would agree. But I remember last year during that game, texting him and saying, I'm not saying he's this good. I'm not saying he's on par with this cat. But I kind of feel like you sound like every defensive coordinator who's trying to figure out how to stop Josh Allen when Josh Allen's on a heater. You can absolutely say, this is what I would do. I would defend this way. I would walk linebackers up. I would take the edge away. I would, I'm playing a 7 technique on my defensive ends on both sides and put my linebackers both on the inside. I'm telling my D ends, get up the field and do not angle in. If this man crosses your face, you are losing your scholarship. Do you understand? That's how I would play it. And I think that is, for a lot of quarterbacks that are giving you problems getting to the edge, that is a way to handle it. You put your defensive end to the outside, or you put a walked-up linebacker to the outside of the tackle on the weak side, the tight end on the strong side, if that's the formation they're going with. You put your defensive end out there in space, and you say, hit it, sit, and wait. And you make sure that Lenoris Sellers goes either the opposite way or up the gut before you angle in. If this man crosses your face, you're cooked. The problem is that McShay described him as talking about Jalen Hurts there, and I quote, twitchier. Now, I take twitchy to mean able to accelerate rapidly, right? I'm talking like 0 to 60 in 0.2 seconds. At twitchy, just bang, he's gone. That is Lenoris Sellers. He is twitchy. He is quick. He's got rapid acceleration. And when he puts that boot in the ground and presses the accelerator, gone. And so what it does is it creates this world where you can say, this is how you defend this guy. But the tactics to do a thing and the ability to do a thing are very different. I have a phrase I've used since I started in radio. It's very dumb, but it works. I know how I can stop a freight train. I just got to stand in front of it and push real hard. However, while in terms of physics, that works, I don't have the ability to generate more power than a freight train. So therefore, even though the tactic is solid, stand in front of it and generate more force going that way than the train generates coming this way. If I do that, the train doesn't move. My knowledge of the tactic to do it does not give me the ability to do the thing. And I do think that Lenoris Sellers and the way that he plays ball creates a world in which I don't really need a big cooked up plan on how to stop Lenoris. I know what the way to do it is. I'm setting the edge. The pocket stays the pocket. And look, if the dude, because you heard McShay, what's the one question he had? I don't think he's got the big arm like Josh Allen does. I think he's got a lot of everything else, but not the big arm. If I'm not afraid of the big over-the-middle passes from Lenoris Sellers, and on top of that, let's keep in mind, we've talked about this with Clemson. I think it is something we've got to address with South Carolina. We know what Nick Harbor is. We know he's a big freak athlete, right? Big track star. Phew, gone, 9 route. Go get it. But we also know he had some drops. He's kind of like Xavier Legette last year. He got a lot of 9 routes down the sideline, dropped one close to him, and he just couldn't come up with it. So if I'm not afraid of that big play, set the edge, clog the middle, and make sure that Lenoris does not get to the outside. If he's going to run, he's going to run up the middle, and I'm going to tell my linebackers, every ounce of force you can get, I want it right in the middle of that number. Just pow, get him, right? So what I really want to see out of Lenoris, and what I think in that opening day game against Virginia Tech on that Sunday over in the ATL, I think we're going to learn real quick. Did they put together in this offseason, because this is my big question, did they put together a passing scheme that leaves the ability for Lenora Sellers to run the football, but does not mandate it, right? This is what Dabo Swinney's been saying about Cade Klubnik for the last couple of years. The dude can spin the bean. The dude can hit the passes. What we need is to create a spot where he feels comfortable when the throw he wants isn't there, to put it away and to run it. Lenoris does that. The throw he wants not there, he locks it away and he runs it. What I need is to create a passing system for Lenoris that more often puts the throw there that he wants. I want him running. I absolutely want him on the move. But I want him on the move against a base set. I do not want an offense where Lenoris Sellers is going to be running the ball and the defense knows that and is able to shade to it. I want Lenoris running the ball because we want Lenoris running the ball, or because everybody's dropped off into coverage because Lenoris has been popping all day, and now it's I can get him into space, whether it's with a spy linebacker or whether it's an outside defensive back who has stayed up in his zone with the additional task of monitoring the outside and make sure he doesn't get wide of them. Whatever it is, I want to utilize a passing game that is, I'm not going to say complicated, but complex enough to give Lenoris Sellers the throws he wants to make the run an option when he gets one-on-one scenarios, not a mandate when defenses are going to be able to walk up an extra guy and make Lenoris run into 2 or 3 man walls on the outside. If they do that, I've already got a ticket on it. I got Lenoris Sellers as a Heisman winner on a bet.
All right, these sound like things that you could ask Shane Beamer when you see him in a couple weeks.
And I will. I think it will be very interesting, to ask him about the direction of the pass game, because we all know already kind of what the offense was last year around Dow Loggins in the spot he was in. You're bringing in Mike Shula. Shula coached at Alabama. He was a head coach at Appalachian State. He was coaching in Alabama. Alabama did have some dudes and throw the ball a little bit when he was down there. It wasn't obviously what it would become under Nick Saban, but he is a cat who does work some passing. He is a dude who wants to throw the football around, and he's got this weapon in Lenoris. But I think and I do not know that this will be Shula or it will be not, and I am interested in asking Shane Beamer this. What percentage of your offense is going to be predicated on using the pass to set up a Lenoris Sellers run, or is Lenoris Sellers going to be a primary weapon with the ball on the legs, or is this going to be something that, as Dabo has done with Cade, again, we've been talking about this with Cade Klubnik for 2 years. Dabo has said to me in the last 2 ACC media days, look, our goal is to get it into Cade's head. We want you to run the ball. If everything's covered up, that means you've got one guy to beat, whether it's an end setting it, whether it's a DB walked up. If everybody down the field is covered, there's one guy for you to beat. I need you to find that guy. I need you to run to him, and I need you to beat him. And it's been like, legitimately, last year, Dabo was like he was making a yuck out of it, but I think he was genuinely frustrated. And I understood it. And I think last year, towards the end of the year, we started to see Cade Klubnik recognize, okay, I can and I should run when things aren't there. We know that Lenoris understands I can tuck and run. Hell, Clemson fans know that. That little touchdown scamper he put on you in the fourth was a backbreaker.
Well, I think one of the real questions is what's that running back room going to look like for South Carolina? Because if they have a strong running back room, that opens up more for him to get to run.
I know that we are still waiting to find out about the eligibility of probably the most experienced guy out of the background, Rasul Faison. We don't know yet. And I know that for Shane, that's got to be, I'm pretty sure that if we get to SEC Media Days 2 weeks from yesterday over in Atlanta, and Faison does not have a decision yet, like they don't know if he can play or not yet, I'm pretty sure if I ask Shane about that, like he may go full Red Hulk on me. Or Garnet Hulk, I guess. Like he may go full Hulk out because he has been mad about this for weeks, and he should be. I understand. Like, make a damn decision. And again, the NCAA has had a lot going on with the College Sports Commission and the House v. NCAA settlement and the revenue share and the cap and the this and the that and the other. But my man's been hanging on, waiting. Basically didn't get a camp during the spring. Still waiting on a decision. If he's able to come back, that's a big help. If not, I don't know. We're going to see. I agree with you. The run game's a big deal. I'm also going to say, much like we've talked about with Clemson the last couple of years, the run game is going to be further hampered if there's not somebody that is, two somebodies that are consistent ball catchers on the outside, and Lenoris can get it to them routinely and consistently that allows you, again, use the run to set up the pass, but use the pass to set up the spark. I got to see the spark. If they spark, this team could be a borderline 11-12 seed playoff. If they don't spark, maybe we're looking at 6-6, 7-5 and going, damn, that was a disappointment. We'll find out. You know it's not a disappointment? Ever? Lonzo Sports Flash.
I don't know about ever. Today is going to be good, though. The NBA free agency period opened up last night. Amongst the moves made were Denver sending Michael Porter Jr. and an unprotected 2032 first-rounder to Brooklyn in return for Cam Johnson. The move gets Denver under the luxury tax. Former Laker D'Angelo Russell signing a 2-year, $13 million deal with the Dallas Mavericks, the second year as a player option. Brook Lopez signing a 2-year, $18 million deal with the Clippers. The Miami Dolphins and Pittsburgh Steelers made a huge trade yesterday with Miami sending defensive back Jalen Ramsey and tight end Jonnu Smith to Pittsburgh in return for defensive back Minkah Fitzpatrick. Miami will also trade their 7th-round pick for Pittsburgh's 5th in a 2027 draft. Atlanta Braves have a dozen games and 13 days left to end the first half of the regular season. The first 6 begin tonight with a 3-game set at home against the Angels. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show coming up next. It's hour number 3, actually. No, it's hour number 2. I confused myself. It's actually only 7 a.m., not 8 a.m. I done quit.
Discover the 4th of July sale at Target. Save 20% on clothing and swimwear for women, select cookies with Target Circle, and up to 50% off Sun Squad sporting goods. Get ready for a fireworks-worthy celebration with patriotic cookies, fun sports gear, and of course, spectacular bids. The deals end July 5th, so hurry.
Hoo-yah! Ow. That was a knee to the desk. Ravens are still better by a mile, by the way, than who? The Steelers? I don't think the Steelers got dramatically better. I mean, they got a little better, marginally better, but they didn't.
Where are you getting that out of that? You were talking about Lenora Sellers, and you kept mentioning Josh Allen. Maybe he means better than Buffalo.
Well, because the Steelers made a big trade yesterday. That wasn't really that big.
I know, but it was never brought up. I mean, you could be right.
Did you not just read it in your Sports Fresh?
Yeah, I did.
There you go. I assumed he was responding.
But I had already knew about it because we talked about it
Right, but
yesterday.
I'm not talking about what you said. I'm responding to what Zach said.
Yeah, but we don't know what he's talking about because he didn't say, I mean, what's it in reference to?
Again, the Steelers that are in the same division as the Raiders.
Clear it up, Zach. I
as the
mean,
Ravens.
you know.
Shut the hell up.
Yeah, I've heard it before. Off we go! Dudes and dudettes. The Rob Brown Show back on the radio. It is the Fan Upstate. What's up, y'all? How's everybody across the beautiful upstate of lovely South Carolina? Of course, all the way across these great United States and all around the world. We're live on 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and for free streaming all 4 hours, all 5 days of the week, except Friday when we're not here, so all 4 days this week, but all 5 days most weeks at thefanupstate.com and on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Grab it, put it on all your digital devices. You know what I got told the other day? I got told that there is potentially a return and resurgence of the Ray Memorial Hotline, which, of course, it's called on this show, not anywhere else. But you know it. We know it. It's the Ray Memorial Hotline. I'm going right now to the Odyssey app, which is free. You can download it from your app store. Grab it right now. And if you go to the Fan Upstate page on the Odyssey app, just by searching the Fan Upstate, click the little heart icon to tell us just how much you love us. If you click that little button, it'll bring you to a page that if you're on the stream, it looks just like this, right, y'all? If you're not on the stream, don't worry. It pulls up a page.
Except for the green thing. Don't just.
Yeah, except my
it.
two green. There's two of them now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a new one developed last night.
That's not good.
Nope, really sucks. Now I in the 4 hours I have between the end of the show and the start of the next one, am probably going to go end up paying like.
What happens if it becomes a grid?
I don't know is the answer.
Would you get
I
scared?
can't let that happen. It is. I bought this phone the day of the wedding last year, so this phone's not even a half a year old, and already I got green Star Wars laser lines on it. Whatever. We'll come to that
How many
later.
times have you dropped it?
Not enough for this to happen.
Okay.
And I bought from the store a $100 case that I was told would prevent this from happening.
That was a good move on your part.
Yeah, clearly not. So, if you go to the Fan Upstate page on the Odyssey app, and ladies and gentlemen, I've decided we're bringing it back. The Ray Memorial Hotline is back. Go to the Odyssey app, AUDACY. It is free. You're welcome. Download it and go search and subscribe to the Fan Upstate. Click the little heart icon, and once you do, it's going to bring you to our page. Now, there's a bunch that is here on the page. It's pretty spectacular. For instance, you can go find featured clips from the Fan Upstate, which have some highlights of the various shows. You can go find full episodes from the Fan Upstate, which have some interesting stuff. And then you can go to the bottom where it says featured shows. And right there, look, there's the Rob Brown Show and Wire to Wire and Saturday Morning Scramble, our local shows. You can click on that. And when you do, it's going to bring you to the podcast section, which has every hour of every show that we do, and Lonzo's here, uploaded for your immediate self-gratification. And there is nothing more than we love on this show than a little self-gratification every now and then. All right? You go home, you light a candle, you pour a glass of wine, you sit around, you self-gratify by listening to the Rob Brown Show. You're welcome. And then at the top of that page, there's two buttons. One says Listen Live, and if you click that button, you will, and this is true, listen live to the show as we're doing it, like right now. In real time. And next to that is another button that says send a voice message. I would like for you to click that button. I would like for you to leave a voice message because when you do, it's going to come right to my laptop. I'm going to be able to download whatever words you say. And when I say whatever words you say, I mean whatever words you say. So at any time, day or night, 24/7, 365 days a year, you can go to the Odyssey app. You can go to the Fan Upstate page. You can click on the leave a voice message button. And when you do, it's coming straight to me. And I don't care what time of day, what day of week, what week of month, what month of year it is. You go to the Odyssey app. It can be 3 in the morning. It can be 3 in the afternoon. It can be 2 in the morning. It can be 2 at night. It doesn't matter to me. Go there, click the button, leave a message. And if you want to say some words, say some words, because I got a button in case you say a word. I will. Now, if you leave me one that's like, like that, it might take me a little while to get to it because I got to go clean it up and edit so that Lonzo doesn't have a heart attack.
You know who you are. Yeah.
But genuinely, and I mean this, leave a voice message about anything you want. And if it's good, I will play it on the air. I do not care about your salty language, you sea dog, you. Say what you want. I don't care. It's your show as much as it's my show. Go to the Odyssey app, AUDACY. It is free. Download it. Put it on your digital devices. Go to the Fan Upstate page, heart it, subscribe to it, and use the leave a voice message button to leave a voice message on the Ray Memorial Hotline. I expect you to do this. I want you to do this. Make this a thing. I tried to make it a thing once before. You guys were like, nah, hot, cold. Like every now and then I show up and have like 6, 7 of them, and then we go a day or two without them. I asked for this to make its return, and I did it for you. Okay? Because they were like, well, what if we did a thing where like people could, call a phone number and leave a message and go to this and voicemails? And then I was like, dude, we have a thing. It's on the Odyssey app. It's just a button. It's literally one button. You get 60 seconds. So go to the Odyssey app, click on the leave a voice note button, leave us a voice note. I'll play them on the show. Also, listen now because you have 55 and a half minutes until you 53 and a half minutes. Math's hard. Before you got to get to the office. And when you get to the office, we all know what you're going to be doing. You're going to be talking sports. You got to know what's going on in the world of sports. You don't want to go in and sound like an idiot because you weren't paying attention. So don't worry. Lonzo and I got you covered because every morning at 7 o'clock or 6 minutes and 51 seconds after it, we do this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
Game over, man. It's game over.
they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports. This glorious Tuesday morning. When you do this is what you are going to be talking about. Allow us to dive right in with item number 1. Yes, it is a water cooler cheat sheet item. Yes, I am quite excited about it. And I'll tell you why I'm excited about the WNBA All-Star Game. It is for a couple of reasons. The very first reason that I am excited about the WNBA All-Star Game is this. If you have griped over the past few years about the fact that the men's NBA All-Star Game doesn't have real competition in it, they don't play defense, they don't care, yada, 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 that's all fine. I don't disagree with you. Actually, quite the opposite. I do disagree with you. Now, I don't hate it because at the end of the day, I'll watch anything that puts freaks of nature doing freaks of nature thing that I cannot even begin to imagine to be capable of doing on my television. I'm all in. But, yeah, I kind of like to watch them play basketball as they are basketball players. I don't think you're going to see that in the WNBA All-Star Game. I think that, and I will give them credit for this, while I may not agree with everything that every player has said, while I may not agree with the strategy that a lot of them have taken in order to grow a game that I am trying to help grow, especially here in basketball country, especially being so close to the University of South Carolina and all they have done on that side of growing the game of women's basketball. While I may not have agreed with every strategy they have taken, I will say this. I have yet to tune in to a WNBA game. And I watch a bunch because they're on when I'm doing my show on Saturdays. If I'm sitting at the crib watching the Braves on the big TV at night, I'll pop it on over and watch the Dream, watch the Fever, watch the Sky, watch the Liberty, watch the Aces, whomstever. I will give them this. There ain't been a game yet where I've looked and go and said, this team's taking it easy. There is not a game yet that I've looked over and said, oh, they're slouching. Oh, they're off their game. Oh, they're not. There's no lack of effort games. And I think the WNBA All-Star game is the same. They announced the starters yesterday. Number 1 overall draft pick, Paige Beckers, will be a starter. Will join captains Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier in Indianapolis on July 19th. Beckers will be the 6th number 1 pick to start the All-Star game as a rookie, joining Caitlin Clark in 2024. Aaliyah Boston, former Gamecock, Maya Moore, Sue Bird, and Shamika Holdsclaw, the starters picked from across the WNBA without regard to conference affiliation. Players and media join fans in selecting the starters. Fan voting accounted for 50%, the players 25%, the media 25%. Beckers received the 6th most votes from fans, was second in voting for guards behind only Caitlin Clark. She is the only first-year All-Star in the starting pool, 11th in the league in points, 6th in assists, and leads rookies in both categories. She is also the first rookie in Dallas Wings history to start the All-Star game. They have sent 2 others, Cheryl Ford and Liz Cambage, 2 other legends of the game as All-Stars, but none to start. Also announced as starters, Asia Wilson, former South Carolina Gamecock, is in that mix. Aaliyah Boston, former South Carolina Gamecock, is in that mix. They'll be joined by Brianna Stewart and Nika Ogwumike. Where's my other list? There it is. Sabrina Ionesco. I knew that. Alicia Gray and Satu Sabali completing the front court. Kelsey Mitchell and Angel Reese both missed the All-Star starters list, finishing 5th and 7th at their positions. 12 reserves will be announced on Sunday. Now, that was not the only news out of the dub yesterday. We also found out that the WNBA is expanding to 18 teams over the next 5 years, with Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia all joining the league by 2030. Cleveland will begin in 2028, Detroit in 2029, Philadelphia in 2030. We already know that Toronto and Portland will enter the league next year. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert said, quote, "The demand for women's basketball has never been higher. We are thrilled to welcome Cleveland, Detroit, and Philly to the WNBA family. This historic expansion is a powerful reflection of our league's extraordinary momentum, the depth of talent across the game, and the surging demand for investment in women's professional basketball." Look, you don't have business owners adding 5 teams to the league over 5 years if there's not a demand for it. Okay? Because the one spot, and we've said this before, you can say whatever you want about companies being woke or companies being too open about their politics or whatever. At the end of the day, there is one truth and one truth alone in corporate America, in late-stage capitalism. There ain't but one thing that matters. Dollar bills, y'all. The bottom line, y'all. And whether it is because it is subsidized by the NBA or not is irrelevant. Whether it is because of exclusively Caitlin Clark or not is irrelevant. What matters is there are clearly some folks out there that feel like investing in women's hoops right now is the right thing to do. And the more teams you have, the more you put into women's basketball, do you know what happens? You start finding more Caitlin Clarks. Young ladies who maybe have never played the game, maybe never had an opportunity. It was never really extended to them. Now they got folks to look up to. They got women that go, oh, I want to be Caitlin Clark. I want to be Angel Reese. I want to be Aaliyah Boston. I want to be Asia Wilson. I want to be Dawn Staley. I want to be. Now they want to play. And when you look at that, all of a sudden, I think you're going to start seeing more Paige Beckers pop up. You're going to see more Caitlin Clark. You're going to see more of these players who would otherwise never have been exposed to basketball, because why would they? There's nobody for me to reflect on, see myself in, want to be like them. Now there is. And if businesses are saying there's enough to justify 5 teams over 5 years, I'm in. I like it. Item number 2. I don't know how many of these we're going to run through. And we are going to talk about a lot more of them later as the show rolls on. But the NBA free agency period opened up yesterday. Michael Porter Jr. is out at Denver. He is on his way out to Brooklyn in return for Cam Johnson. This trade's interesting because you basically get Cam Johnson, who is a younger Michael Porter Jr., and honestly, probably a better defender and shooter, which is the two things that down the stretch, Denver could not put around Nikola Jokic. Now you got that. And oh, by the way, saving you about $25 million. Going to get Denver under the luxury tax. Why this move in this spot? The answer is twofold. Number one, I think as we got deeper into the postseason, it became more and more obvious to me that the rest of the Nuggets were kind of frustrated with Michael Porter Jr. Like he just wasn't getting it done. And we talked about the fact that the other day, the GM of the Nuggets came out and said, there is a nightmare scenario where if we cannot get under the second apron, and I'm going to keep it a buck, I've learned more about the apron system in the last 2 days than I ever cared to learn about. But if we can't get under that second apron, which is going to cost us a lot of money, Boston Celtics right now are on the hook for about $500,000 in luxury tax and apron fees if they can't get that number down, which is why I think Derek White's gone. That's why they got rid of Porzingis, whatever. This gets Denver back under that number, which allows them to keep Nikola Jokic. Because there was a nightmare scenario where if nobody would take any of their guys and they couldn't trade them for cheaper salaries and build younger, that they would have had to just let Nikola Jokic. Could you imagine what happens in Denver if the Nuggets just let Jokic walk? Riots. They'd be like, whoa, is Nico running this team? Absolutely not. The Mavs also agreed to a $13 million deal with with D'Angelo Russell, the former LA Laker. Brooke Lopez signing a 2-year, $18 million deal with the Clippers. The Clippers also got James Harden to sign on a 2-year, for James Harden, $81 million over 2 years. Like, James Harden can still ball. I'm not arguing with that, but and you made the playoffs last year, so I guess congrats on that. But is anybody looking at James Harden and going, that's an $81 million, $40+ million a year dude?
Apparently, that is the market.
I mean, the market's whatever somebody's going to pay.
Right.
But I would also argue that, the market's whatever somebody's willing to pay. If you pay 81 and nobody else was willing to pay 40, you overpaid. Even if that's what you're willing to pay, you still overpaid for a cat, right?
Which team did better, Houston or Dallas?
Houston did better. And I don't even hate what Dallas did yesterday. I thought they made some noise. And we're going to talk a lot more about some of the individual teams and how this impacts next season, whatever. I really like what Houston did yesterday, a couple of days after signing off on the Kevin Durant edition with the trade for the Suns. By the way, if I'm a Suns dude, I'm packing everything to the back of the closet. Like, honestly, this is not a joke. They have D Book. And I feel worse about the Suns than I feel about the Pelicans today. And y'all know how I feel about my Pelicans. I hate them. They make me sad all the time. They did get Kayvon Looney yesterday up out of Golden State. All right, we'll go through some more of the moves. There's like 1,000 of them to get to. So we'll circle back around to that later on in the show. Let's get to item number 3. I don't really know where to go with this one. We got WNBA All-Stars in expansion. I don't know that the trade yesterday between Pittsburgh and Miami is necessarily like a water cooler cheat sheet option. Like, it's a big trade, but also I don't think it does anything to help either team. You traded 2 defensive backs. Yeah, Jalen Ramsey's a little bit better than Minka Fitzpatrick. It's you got to shift things up a little bit. Yeah, that's a good addition to the city. Does that make the Steelers are they now suddenly stalwart defenders? No, they're the same team today that they were yesterday, maybe slightly better. Their Madden DB group ratings going from a 78 to an 80. Good ad.
I'm so shocked that people haven't cooked up. It's because Aaron Rodgers didn't like one guy or like the other guy.
No, this has nothing to do with him.
I know, which is cool because usually it doesn't. But it's usually, okay, how do we make this more interesting? Oh, well, Aaron Rodgers didn't like the guy.
This 100% has to do with the fact that Jalen Ramsey's a hothead. Jalen Ramsey had gotten tired of Miami because that's what he does. He goes to L.A., he gets run out of there. He goes to Miami, gets run out of there. He's a hothead. They got tired. I guess this is item number 3 now. Item number 3, Steelers trade Minka Fitzpatrick down to Miami in return for Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, and they are going to switch their 7th and 5th round draft picks in, I think, 2027. I don't think the Steelers are a better football team today than they were yesterday. I think they have a slightly better defensive backfield, but here's the thing. Theory, do you agree with or not agree with? They got Aaron Rodgers for 1 year. He's all but confirmed that. If you believe him, Aaron Rodgers has been maybe not the most honest, or let's just give him credit and say he's changed his mind about a lot he said over the years. This feels to me Like the Steelers are pushing all the chips and saying we're going all in. We got 1 year with Aaron Rodgers. We got one shot. We're going all in on this year. We're going to give you Minka Fitzpatrick, who we had on a great deal. We're going to bring Jalen Ramsey over. We're going to give him $1.5 million raise. You traded a guy who's been a stalwart of your defense for a very long time now. You added the guys Rodgers. This feels like it is an all or nothing play by the Steelers to get themselves up there with the Ravens for the top of the division.
What's wrong with that?
I'm not saying anything's wrong with it.
Okay, because I
I'm good with
agree. That's what I think it is.
Here's my question.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
I agree with you. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Here's my question. If it doesn't work, is the Tomlin era over?
No.
See, I don't know that I believe that anymore.
They'll still make the playoffs.
I think that's the thing. I don't know that they do this year because I think the AFC is stacked. I don't think they do.
It was stacked last year and the year before.
I mean,
it's a very tough division.
I don't think 9 wins. And if it gets you in, and let's say the Steelers get in, but they lose in round 1 again, that's the same outcome to me as not making it at all. If they wild card in and they lose and they lose in the first round, that's the same as not going. Is the Tomlin era over if the Steelers don't win a playoff game this year? We'll talk more NFL as the show rolls on. We'll get to those NBA trade deadlines and more. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Right back, dudes, and do that. Sit right there. Down, 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 down. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the Great Malonzo, and you. Be a part of the show. 844-326-3663. 844-FANFONE. All right, a couple of quick things that I wanted to get to here on the radio program before we move on. The first is a text we got earlier. I was talking in the first hour of the show about the fact that LeBron James signed a 1-year player option with the LA Lakers. He had the final year of his contract is this year. He had it as a player option, which means that he could have decided, should I stay or should I go now? And he decides he's going to stay one more year. But there's a little drama attached to it. That drama is that the only person from the Lakers camp, unless something changed overnight, but I didn't see anything this morning. I was in bed at like 9 o'clock last night. It was like one of those things that you're like, I'm laying in bed and I'm like, God, I hate being in bed this early. But at the same time, I was like, I don't hate being in bed this early. Anyway, I'm in bed last night and I'm kind of following up on everything. And I thought about the LeBron thing, the Laker thing, because I said it on You Better You Bet, which I'm hosting all week on the BetMGM network. I said, you know what I find the most interesting of all of this is the fact that LeBron James, the I don't know, most visible non-soccer player athlete on planet Earth, and I got to keep it a buck. It's hard for me to think that there's anybody else. I think he's more visible than Steph. I think and basketball is the second biggest sport on the face of the planet outside of soccer. At least that America is, in any way, shape, or form related to. So, LeBron James gets his 1-year player option. He picks it up to stay with the Lakers. LeBron doesn't say anything. And good gosh almighty, the man's on a new podcast every 15 minutes. LeBron loves saying some stuff about LeBron, don't he? I'm a LeBron guy. I'm a Bron stan. But Bron has never shied away from a microphone. I'm not saying that's bad. Neither do I. I was on, I think, with interviews and hosting, I was on 6 different shows this weekend. The wife was real frustrated. I get it.
Just say no.
I can't. I'm an addict. What do you want? Hi, my name is Rob Brown. I'm a microphoneaholic. It's been 10 minutes since my last microphone. I said this on that show, and then I really started thinking about it last night. It is very interesting to me that LeBron has done every podcast in America at this point, I think, except mine. James didn't find a mic to talk about his picking up of the player extension. The Lakers, and I understand that there's new ownership in town. The guy that owns the Dodgers now also owns the Lakers. God, must be nice. But let's also they kept Rob Pelinka on. They kept Jeannie Buss on. She's going to be the, VP of basketball operations or whatever. They kept the staff that worked ever so hard, not that hard at all, actually, to get LeBron to Los Angeles, to make LeBron the face of Los Lakers, to make LeBron the face of LA, to make LeBron the face of the NBA and make sure he's wearing a Lakers jersey while he is. No comment from them. They didn't say, oh, we're so happy. We're glad to have Bron back. This is his franchise. We're committed to winning a championship with him. Nothing, not at all. The only guy who had anything to say about it was LeBron's agent, Rich Paul. And he really just kind of said 2 things. He said, number one, Bron wants to play for a championship next year, and he expects the Lakers to have that same commitment. Basically, it sounded to me like he was saying, build a team around him or he's gone. Now, he did say about his longevity that we picked up the player option because, and I'm paraphrasing, not quoting, but it's pretty close. He said, we picked up the player option because it's a 1-year deal. And we don't know what's going to be left in Bron after this year. Maybe he'll do one more and decide he wants to run it back. Maybe he'll decide he's done. I don't know. He don't know. We'll see. A lot of people took that as, yeah, Bron plays one more and championship, no championship, he retires. I took that as, hey, Lake Show, if you guys don't build a team that at least competes for a natty, if you don't give me something that at least competes for a natty, LeBron will up and take his talents to somewhere else, anywhere else.
Would you rather him say, hey, this is my last year, I am retiring after this year, and him having the farewell tour?
I don't know that I care.
It works for some people. For him, it would be a major deal if he did it.
I do. I think that. And I want to be clear. I don't know LeBron. I ain't had this conversation with him. I'll text him later in the day, see if he picks up. I don't think necessarily LeBron thinks LeBron's going to do one more year and go. Right? Because I also think that, say whatever you want. And again, I am a fan. I am a stan, whatever you kids are calling us nowadays. I am a LeBron James guy. I have no issues with LeBron. I think he's the greatest basketball player I've ever watched play from an all-around overall sense. LeBron is also a bit of a attention, you know the second word. Am I allowed to say that word?
There are other ways to say it.
I know, but like that's the impactful one. That's the one that's like, bang, he said that.
For you.
Yeah. He's an attention lady of the night. See, it doesn't have the same pizzazz, the same pop to it. Doesn't really have. He's an attention hoe. Like that doesn't carry the weight.
I think that's very effective. Attention hoe. That works for me because you've got most of the word in there. So
you all know the word that I'm going with here. It starts with a W.
Oh,
2-1 on a Tuesday.
No,
I had 2 yesterday.
Well, I thought that was last week. Well, I won last week, so.
Oh, did I have none yesterday? And it's 0-1.
Yeah, you just
Okay, so I took an L last week, but I'm on the leaderboard this week.
It was 2-0.
Clubhouse leader to end Tuesday. I like that.
Yeah, on a short week too.
Oh yeah, that's true. So LeBron James is an attention hoe, or you could call him something else. That was really good. I'm proud of myself right there. I came up with that on the fly. I'm pretty proud of that. He's that. LeBron's not afraid of getting some attention. So the fact that LeBron is, and again, perhaps this changes. We got, 6 more days until the NBA regular season starts back up, I think. As we work our way towards the NBA regular season, perhaps this changes. But it just feels to me like LeBron's the type of dude that if he knows going into a year, this is it, he's going to say this is it. So he can have his retirement tour. Because, and again, different guy, different attitude, different mentality, but it's LeBron. Kobe said this is it. And Kobe did his retirement tour. And there was a lot more going on with Kobe with the Achilles injury late in his career, and the Lakers sucked for a while.
Then they let him get like 55 points because they knew it was his last year.
Yeah,
there was stuff like that.
I don't think anybody let him do a thing.
Come on.
I think Kobe went out there and said, we're not winning a title. I'm going for 80. I think there were probably a couple of games where maybe he got a little extra step or two. But I also think Kobe Bryant had plenty of 60-point games in his career to say, like, the last couple were an anomaly. Blah, 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 whatever. And even if that's the case, if you're LeBron and you want to check your title and you think people are going to give you the Kobe farewell of like, yeah, we don't care if you put 50 on us up here at MSG because, respect to the king or whatever, hey, say that. But LeBron has said nothing about retirement. He said nothing about walking away. And I think he's absolutely the type of dude, and I don't have an issue with this, I think he's absolutely the type of dude that is going to want his farewell tour. When he comes to Charlotte, North Carolina for the last time to play the Buzz, I think he wants that building sold out because it's going to, if nothing else, give him that phenomenal send-off into broadcasting, which I assume is where he's going next. He wants to be able to have that image of like every NBA arena filled up to the brim and they're all there to see the king one last time. And he said none of that. He said nothing. The Lakers have said nothing. All he said is we signed a 1-year deal because it's the same as a 1-year contract, which does not say 1-year contract, then I retire. It just says 1-year contract, which means I very much think with the new ownership, and oh, by the way, keep in mind, this is the ownership that runs the Dodgers. The Dodgers that we have talked about the fact that they have $1 billion in deferred payments for the LA Dodger payroll. They have $1 billion on the books for players. If I'm LeBron, I'm going to look at that and go, I'm going to assume now that you have purchased the Lakers for $10 billion and you're paying $1 billion, 10% of that to just players in the Dodgers organization, money's no object. And if money's no object, I expect you to go get a team that can compete. Bleep the luxury tax, bleep the first apron, bleep the second apron, bleep your mama's kitchen apron, bleep the apron at a NASCAR race. I was running out of aprons. You get the point. Bleep all them aprons. Go get me a team that can compete. Because if you don't, I will take my talents too. South Beach, Cleveland one more time again, whatever. Texter said, I'm not a LeBron guy, Rob, by any means, but I wanted to say he is tainting his legacy with his actions and demands. Is it tainting your legacy to say, I want to win a championship? I disagree with you, Texter. Like, to say, I want a good team, I want to compete, You know what other player I expect to say that in the NBA? All of them! I expect every player to feel that way. Texas said LeBron did that, so if he gets traded, he won't be called a team hopper. I don't think he cares about that anymore, do you? Or else he wouldn't have said all that. I don't know. Kevin says that. Appreciate that text, Kevin. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, dudes. BRB, don't go nowhere. suggest a change for the All-Star voting for Major League Baseball's All-Star game? Because it is, and I'm going to say this, it's my favorite All-Star game. I love the NBA All-Star game, but it's not basketball. The Pro Bowl, sure, super fun. Freaks of nature doing freaks of nature things, even if it's flag. Is it entertaining? Yes. Is it football? No, it's not. MLB's All-Star game is the one All-Star game that, yes, pitchers are only throwing an inning. Guys are only coming up for one, maybe two at-bats in a game. But I will also say this. Tune into that All-Star game on July 15th, 16th this year?
I just want to know that you said July.
July. It's because I had to cut so many commercials yesterday for SEC Media Days, and it got to the point that I was reading the word July so many times that I started pronouncing it like July. Well, first it was, join us on the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th of July. And then I'm like, you can't have like your official radio voice like, join us the 14th of July. You got to be like, join us the 14th of July. Because that's the radio.
Why is July creeping in there?
I don't know.
I got a theory, but
it's my wife.
Yeah, that was my theory.
I know it's exactly, and that's probably what it is because she's got a little bit of that Anderson County in her, and it comes out every now and when she talks to her mama on the phone. It starts to come out. It'll start to. And the longer she's on the phone, it'll creep out a little bit more, and then I'll hear, "Well, Mama, what are you doing on the 4th of July?" And it's like, no. I love my wife more than any of y'all. Always will. Babe, you do know you just said July, right? She's like, shut up, which is a fair response. So the media text thread, which I guess I've been muted from. Yesterday, I was supposed to send out a top 10 list of some type. What'd I say? This week, next week, hashtag peak off season. It is ranking season here in the sports media world. This is the period of time where you rank things. We are going to see people over the next couple of weeks that are going to, by the way, Cole and Diesel out on vacation all week. Great week to take a week-long vacation if you're the boys.
Except we're not doing it because Rob doesn't like fun.
No, Rob does love fun.
I just want to point out how we have no sports, so people are talking about things because they miss sports.
No.
Let's
Nope.
have the top 10 Clemson uniforms of all time. Why not? They're all orange and they're all ugly, but someone can tell you the difference.
Here's why. Because we have stuff happening. I got golf, I got NASCAR, I got tennis, I got soccer, I got a huge international tournament happening right now. There's a game 10 minutes up, well, not 10 minutes, 2 hours up the road in Charlotte, North Carolina. We got a game coming to Atlanta. We got a big soccer tournament. We got the World Cup a year away from now. We got NBA free agency yesterday. I got all of Major League Baseball left ahead of us. And the Rob Brown Show is a sports show that is in all the sports show. So if you're looking for what's your favorite uniform combination, this ain't the show for you, bud. Never has been, never will be.
I just think we could have a lot of fun with that. Didn't say we'd be serious about it, but we could have a lot of fun with it.
I mean, we can have a lot of fun with anything. It's part of the appeal of this show to the 17 people who find that appealing. But no, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to go ahead and warn you now. I'm not talking about it right now because there's 300 people competing at Wimbledon, but next week, when we get to the quarters and the semis and the finals on the men's and the gentlemen's and the women's side at Wimbledon, probably going to talk a little tennis with you too because it's in all the sports show.
Some Americans that make it.
Or just Yannick Whatabutte-Skinner just keeps kicking everybody's ass.
So you keep talking about how you missed out on this thing. Are you going to talk about the thing, or are you just going to talk about missing out on the thing?
Oh, I'm going to talk about the thing.
Well, I sent you the thing.
I know you.
I sent
was going to give you credit for sending one of the things that I got yesterday, and I do want to point out I was getting there. Okay, so here's one of the ranks things that people ranked yesterday. Josh Pate put out his list of top 10 regular season games upcoming. Here's the list. At number 10, I don't know that this is the one that I would put here, but I also understand why I did it. I'll get to that in a minute. At number 10, the University of South Carolina Gamecocks on the road at the Fighting Lane Kiffins of Ole Miss. The Running Rebels at the crib in Oxford, Mississippi, hosting Shano and his Fighting Chickens down there in the Grove. Can I ask you a question, Mr. Pate? And I think I know the answer already, so I'll make the assumption and we'll see if he clarifies on this later. But how is Carolina at Ole Miss on this list, but South Carolina Clemson isn't? Now, I think the answer to that...
It's a foregone conclusion that South Carolina is going to beat Clemson again, so you don't need to put it on the list.
No, it's not. I appreciate you trolling. I'm going to hype that game up. I'm not going to poo-poo that game and try to make it sound now like it's not going to matter then. It is. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said this once and I'll say it again. I think that game is going to be, and I mean this, perhaps the most important addition. And it's a speculation, and it is way too bleeping early. But it is speculation.
2 weeks away from media day.
This game is 10 months from now.
Uh-huh.
It is too early to speculate what's going to happen
You just
in week 14.
complained an hour ago that yesterday was the first of the year.
Okay,
so
break that game down for
it
me in
will
week
be
14.
Here. In week 14?
Uh-huh.
Okay. They're both healthy. We're going in undefeated South Carolina going up against undefeated Clemson. A lot on the line there. South Carolina's got a chance to actually compete for the SEC championship. Clemson's going to win the ACC championship because they almost always do that. It's going to come down to the wire. Lenore Sellers runs for 95 yards, scores a touchdown. South Carolina wins the SEC.
Fine speculation. And about 10 things that could go different between here and week 14.
You're right, but you could have said something different and you would have been right.
Right.
But do you expect me to say nothing? Probably. But I gave you a breakdown of the game.
No.
By the way, unfortunately, Clemson's defense got run all over the place if you're a Clemson fan. But they still were able to stay in the game because Kate Klubnik finally lived up to what people thought, the hype. And this is 2 Heisman Trophy guys that are going to New York the next week.
So the take here is it is too early to speculate what is going to be on the line in week 14 when we are 2 weeks from Media Day. The point that I'm making here, however, is if I was going to draw up a little speculation about what is the highest that could be on the line for this game, here's what I come up with. What I think the highest that can be on the line for this game is South Carolina competing for one of the last 2 or 3 playoff spots, because I think there's L's in there. And that's not to say South Carolina is going to be the best version that the Gamecocks have been in a very long time. And I think they're well on the way.
Undefeated right now at this point, so I don't know why you're doing all this naysaying.
Because I am for real and not an idealist who just goes,
Okay.
we're the best, we gonna beat
Okay.
everybody, Paul!
All right. All you fans out there, I represent you. The
Here's why.
realist over there.
LSU's a better football team than South Carolina this year.
We'll find out. What if Clemson beats them?
Doesn't make them less of a great football team. Clemson is not just a front runner
So
for the playoffs.
Clemson beats LSU. It gets in LSU's head, and they can't believe that they lost to Clemson. And then it's a downward spiral the rest of the season. They start losing games they shouldn't lose. And, so it's not that big of a deal at that point.
Or they beat them. LSU goes, damn, that sucks. Rebound. They go on a tear of 11-0 and win the SEC West.
By the way,
Or
everything
not
I'm
West, but you get
doing
it.
makes me qualified to do a preseason poll.
I will do a preseason poll at SEC Media Days in 2 weeks, live in Atlanta, Georgia, at the College Football Hall of Fame.
Right. We're all qualified to do a preseason poll. Don't nobody know. The teams that are good usually are probably going to be good again. Wow.
So, I don't understand why South Carolina Ole Miss thinks the list and South Carolina Clemson doesn't. I have one bit of speculation here, which is the fact that Josh Pate also has 2, not 1, but 2 Clemson games on this list. At number 9, he has Clemson at Georgia Tech. Why is that one interesting? Because of what happened last year, a year in which Georgia, or was it 2 years ago, Georgia Tech was giving Clemson all kinds of heck for a whole long time in that game, and it took Clemson all the way till the fourth quarter. I remember that game very well. I was watching it at Warehouse at Vaughn's with a couple of Clemson fans who were very rowdy and doing shots off the shot wheel earlier, and then the fun got progressively less and less and less as that game went on. I am very high on Brent Key, the head coach of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. I actually like the direction. Now, Georgia Tech has challenges there in Atlanta that other schools do not have. They are not just wedged directly in the middle of SEC territory, but they are wedged directly in the middle of SEC territory, just an hour and some change away from Athens, Georgia, which is the site of not only a repeated national champion attendant over the past few years, but also one of the teams that has buku NIL dollars to give out for years and years and years. It's going to be real tough to get a kid to come play at Bobby Dodd in the middle of Atlanta, Georgia, when Athens can call up pretty much anybody that they want out of the Peach State and say, hey, we have like $1 gazillion if you'd like some of it. And they go, yes, please, go Dogs. Oof, 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 oof. But if anybody's going to be able to create that bulldog mentality for the non-Bulldogs, it is Brent Key at Georgia Tech. And with Haynes King coming back and the running game they have coming back, I do agree that this game carries more weight than any Clemson-Georgia Tech game of the last couple of years. So I get that is there, but I also think Georgia Tech's a team that is going to lose some dumb games here and there because they are on their way, but they're not quite there yet. Clemson, South Carolina deserves to be on this list more than I would even bump Clemson. I would even bump both Clemson, Georgia Tech, and South Carolina, Ole Miss to put South Carolina, Clemson on this list. And that's not just because I'm blowing smoke because I live here. I'm saying I think South Carolina at that point could very well be fighting for that 9-3 mark. There is a chance that I do not think is unrealistic that South Carolina is looking for a 10-2 season, and they will need to beat Clemson to get there. But I think 9-3 could make you the 12th seed. I think 10-2, you're in. I think 9-3 can make you a 12 seed. It could also be that you're 9-3 and you're in a swath of 9-3 teams, and like 1 or 2 of you go and 2 or 3 of you don't, and you're going to need a walk-off win, which also means, and I know this is going to feel weird, South Carolina fans, you ought to be pulling for Clemson to run the ACC because you want the undefeated version of them at the end of the year. I don't think you will be, with all due respect. I think you'll be fighting for 10-2. What I'll tell you I don't want is you're fighting for 9-3. I'd like you to be fighting for 10-2. 9-3 might still get you in, but yeah, it may become a must win. But you want that to be a resume builder. So I think that's on that list. I don't understand how in the world, great one, Ohio State, Texas is number 8 for Josh Pate. That's number 1 to me. And it's not even close. That is number 1. I got that at number 1, and I got LSU at Clemson at number 2 because that is 4
so
national championship contenders.
You actually have a list then.
That I'm literally making up as I go.
Okay, all right, fine.
Listen, I rank stuff all the time. What I'm not going to do is say, hey, I'm not going to talk about this flurry of NBA roster moves that changed the entire complexion of the league in one day. Oh, by the way, with 4 guys sitting out with Achilles injuries on contenders that aren't contenders anymore. Now guys are jockeying for position. To me, that's more important. But I also know it ain't exactly the vibe around here all the time. Yeah, so I'm addressing
because what you're doing now is a lot of fun. The other stuff is news.
That's why I'm doing it.
And it needs to be talked about because it's definitely recent news. This is fun.
And not only am I doing it, I'm doing it in our busiest segment of the day. So with that being said, allow me to once again throw at you what I just threw at you. How is Texas at Ohio State? Arch Manning, probably Julian saying you got 2 of the, not just 2, you got the 2 shortest odds in America fighting for the national championship this year in week 1. In Columbus,
also 1 and 2 in money spent, according to yesterday.
Everything is 1 and 2. Texas and Ohio State. They are playing in week bleeping 1. I get that Ohio State Michigan's the rivalry. I get that it's the big house this year. I get Texas Ohio State is easily the most compelling game in college football week 1. And if these 2 teams are what they are supposed to be, might be the most compelling game of all year until these teams meet up again in the national championship game. How is Texas Ohio State not your number 1 most compelling game, not just of week 1,
talking about compelling,
of the season?
Compelling is Ohio State and that team up north because Ohio State hasn't been able to get past them recently. That's why it's more compelling.
Anybody think Michigan's a national championship contender this year? Anybody? Bueller?
Ohio State Texas is probably the most impactful game. Maybe.
I would disagree. I would also point out that if I am the Buckeyes, I probably recognize that if I get by Texas in week number 1, what else am I looking at the rest of the year after that? I got Texas in week 1. Then I come up on Grambling State, Ohio, Washington, who ain't got Michael Penix Jr. no more, Minnesota, Illinois might be a little better this year. Hey, they ain't in that mix yet.
Yeah, every other year they are feisty.
You ready for the Buckeye schedule? Here it is. Texas, week 1, Penn State, November 1st, Michigan, November 29th. And realistically, because I think 9-3 gets you in, now, this won't happen because Big Ten, you could lose all 3 of those games and still be a playoff team as the 12th seed at 9-3. Really. Like Ohio State, I think, respectfully, if you win any 2 of those 3 games, you're going to the playoffs and you're probably going as a top half seed.
We'll see.
But I also think,
hope we won't see.
Much like you said about LSU, lose the Clemson, it all comes downhill. If Texas goes up to Ohio State and beats a dog snot out of them in Columbus, maybe we're talking about a different thing. But does that not make week 1? I know it's the rivalry, but unless you're bought into that rivalry, Texas-Ohio State is the most compelling game of the year, and we get it right out of the gate.
But now you can have a loss and still make a playoff. So if you lose early, then that last game probably is more important, especially if you lose to Texas.
I mean, we're going to find out. All right, we'll talk more about this. We'll pick out some more games later on in the radio broadcast. We're not done with college football, and we might even grade another list. I'm going to give Josh Pate, who I very much like and respect, just so we're very clear and on the record, I'm going to give him a B- on this list. Good content, wrong order. A+ for the Sports Flash, though.
The NBA free agency period opened up last night. Amongst the moves made were Brook Lopez signing a 2-year, $18 million deal with the Clippers. Lakers signing Jake LaRavia on a 2-year, $12 million deal with the departure of Dorian Finney-Smith, who moved to Houston, a 4-year, $53 million deal for him. Three-time champ Kevin Looney leaving Golden State to sign a 2-year, $16 million deal with New Orleans. The Miami Dolphins and Pittsburgh Steelers made a huge trade yesterday with Miami sending defensive back Jalen Ramsey and tight end Jonnu Smith to Pittsburgh in return for defensive back Minkah Fitzpatrick. Miami will also trade their 7th-round pick for Pittsburgh's 5th in the 2027 draft. Ramsey will get $1.5 million raise, as well as Fitzpatrick returns to the team that drafted him 11th overall. And the Atlanta Braves have a dozen games and 13 days left in the first half of the regular season. The first 6 begin tonight. We're getting it revved up, James, getting it ready to go. Look at that kitten, still kidding.
Bouncing in the club when the heat is on, all night on the beach to the break of dawn. I just sent you something cool on Twitter. It's just a picture. Oh, it is dope.
Wonder how big it has to be that visible. You think it's regular human size? I don't know. Because I don't know how big that building
You can
is.
see the stairs down below him, so it's definitely bigger because he's like the size of a stairwell. But it still looks dope.
There's other pictures of a helicopter flying right by it, but keeping a distance enough that you can't see the face. Man, I hope that movie isn't disappointing.
It drops in a week, right? Next week?
It's
Thursday?
next Thursday, yeah.
Or technically, I guess, yeah, Thursday night.
Well, for Wednesday for people who are Prime members who got chosen. I mean, how do I get on that list of people who get to see movies early and get to play video games early? I mean, how do you get on that list?
I didn't even know there was a list.
Of course there's a list.
There's always a list. Paul! That's my that's my go-to mock somebody joke.
It's Paul. Hey, it's Paul.
Ain't pardon nobody, Paul! I used to have to listen to Paul Feinbaum every day. And I don't listen. Hate the game, not the player. Like, he figured his niche and he ran to it. But good Lord, he puts the lowest common denominator of people on that show.
You mean real
Paul
people?
Feinbaum's show
real
is
people, regular
keeping
people?
the stereotypes
I mean,
about the South alive and well.
I mean,
That doesn't work for me, brother.
Everything works for me, brother. Welcome back. It is the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great with Lonzo on the ones and twos. Spectacular to have you here. Let me tell you all of the different ways you can be a part of the show, including my favorite, if you'll use it, Armada. I promise you'll get your stuff on the air if you do. Here's what I'd like you to do, because I am... I didn't even know I was doing this until last night when I was alerted that this was once again a thing for you. The Ray Memorial Hotline is back. Let me tell you what it is and how it works, shall I? I'll make it quick because we got some sports in the audio blitz to get to here in just mere moments from now. The Ray Memorial Hotline is a service that I have made sure is available to you, the people. Now, Odyssey made it, runs it, puts it up, whatever. But, like, I fought to make this a thing. So here's the thing. Here's what you do. You go to your app store if you have not done so already, and you grab the Odyssey app, Audacy. And when you open that, you're going to see a little search button down at the bottom. Click on that. Going to bring up the search bar. Type in the Fan Upstate. Go to the Fan Upstate page and click the little heart icon. Then go to our page. Once you do, right there in the middle of it, you're going to see two buttons. One is orange, and it says Listen Live. And no matter where you are, if you've got an internet connection or a data connection of any type, you can listen to whatever beautiful show is on the Fan Upstate at that given moment. The Rob Brown Show from 6 till 10, Righter Than You with Bill Ryder from 10 to noon, from noon to 3 for a little while longer, Rich Eisen, and then you can go from 3 to 7 with Wire to Wire with Cole Bryce and Diesel, although not this week. They're both on vacation. But that's our regular schedule. Right next to that orange Listen Live button is another button. That button says Send a Voice Message. You push that button, you have 60 seconds to record it yourself or anybody else saying anything that you want. It does not matter the conversation. It doesn't matter the topic. It doesn't matter the take. I don't care about your salty sea dog language. I don't care what you want to say, how you want to say it. Have at it. Boys and girls, the Ray Memorial Hotline is there for you 24/7, 365 to utilize as you see fit. Let's say it's Friday night. You're real mad about your NBA team because you thought they were going to go out there and grab a free agent, but they didn't. So you go out with the boys Friday night. You have a couple of shots of whiskey. You Uber home because you're a responsible human being. You get to the crib and you're real mad about it. Pick up the Odyssey app. Push that leave a voice note button on the Fan Upstate's page and go off, Queen. Go off, King. Drop your note, drop your voice message. I'll come back, I'll edit it, we'll react to it, we'll have a take on the air, or you can just say, hey, Rob, don't play this on the air, but I just wanted to tell you that, and I'll make a notation, all right? So go to the Odyssey app, Audacy. It is free in the App Store. Grab it, put it on your phone. Go to the Fan Upstate page, click the heart so that it's easy to navigate to anytime you want to do this, and then click on the Leave a Voice Message button. And once thou does, you can leave a voice message anytime, day or night. And for the record, I don't care how many you leave either. All right? You got 60 seconds. If you're like, that was 60 seconds, but that's not enough. I'm circling back around. I want to do another one. Have at it. Go bananas. Leave all you want. All right? I get them to my laptop. I edit them. I clean them up. We rock and roll. All right. It is 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, yeah, by the way, Texas show. Hub City Spartanburger text line. That's on me. I told you I was going to tell you all the ways. Here's the next one. Hub City Spartanburger text line, 844-326-3663. 844-FANFONE. You can text the show Like the texter that said, you can take the ACC teams out of the Coastal, but you can't take the Coastal out of the teams. Georgia Tech will have some upsets to go with a couple of stupid losses. I agree with that entirely. Georgia Tech's going to lose one or two dumb ones because they just ain't got them dogs yet. But Brent Key's also the type of dude that says, we may not have them dogs, but you tick off a Chihuahua, they'll bite you on the ankles. And I think the boys will be ready. So I agree with that take. Texter said, is Georgia v. Georgia Tech on that list? That's from Spike. Spike, I'm going to say this lovingly and respectfully. Come on, dog. Come on, man. I love Tech. I'm excited about Tech. I like the direction Brent Key, noted, definite football dude. But no, Georgia Tech, Georgia's not on the list. Not in the year we get Oregon, Penn State, LSU, Clemson. No, ain't there yet. Let's see, what was the other one? Texter said, you're just qualified to be a Clemson hater, Zoe, when we stomp the Gamecocks this year, and if we meet the horse chestnuts in the playoffs, we will stomp y'all too. Meow.
Feels pretty good, doesn't it? It lets you know it's just a couple weeks away from football season. Starting to feel it. Yeah, getting your stuff out, making sure it's clean, see if you need to get new gear because you probably put on a little weight because a lot of people do that, including me. So you got to do that. It feels good. So come at me, bro. Let's have some fun.
Saturday, I wore a large jersey.
Braggart.
Correct.
Which you should.
Large. Not XL.
Have you took into consideration that you need to stop losing weight?
No, I'm getting to 200. That's where I'm at now. I'm like, screw it, I'm getting to 200.
But if you go any further.
Scratch that. I'm going to go to 199 to say I got under 200. I think that might be it for me, though.
Because you can lose too much weight and look emaciated to the point where people wonder, are you sick?
I don't want to lose so much weight that I then have to go to the gym. You know what I mean? Like, there's a skinny, then you got, like, I got to go to the gym. I got to put something on underneath this. And I don't want to, like, have to go to the gym. I want to go to the gym because I wanted to go to the gym.
Your nighttime activities will keep you where you don't have to worry about that probably.
Yeah, I also had Saturday night I went to the Triumph game, went back to the house, and was sitting up playing some Baldur's Gate with the broskies late on Saturday night. And I think I had two Captain and Sprite Zeros because I'm health conscious like that. I had like 2 Captain and Sprites, maybe 2.5, and they weren't even like my Yetis. They're just like regular glasses.
Alcohol itself have a ton of calories in it?
Yeah, definitely rum is just pure sugar. But it's like, I've been good all week. I got to like 204.5, so I was like, why not, right? So I had a couple. Man, I woke up on Sunday. We had to get up a little early because the wifey and I had a couple of things to do in the AM portion of the day. I got up early at like 7 o'clock. But I wasn't right till like 9:30. I was like, God dang it. Being 40 sucks. I didn't get drunk.
Or you're a lightweight now.
No, that's probably that is part of it. That is part of it. Because it had been a minute, and also I'm 40, and also like I'm down like 70 pounds from where I was last year. So I wasn't right till like 9:30 the next morning. She's like, you good? I'm like, yeah, it's like hangover, but without the fun. That sucks. All right. Texter said, thoughts on, I guess we're pushing the audio blitz to the next segment. Why not? Who cares? Whatever. Texter said, thoughts on UNC outside of all the Bill Belichick drama. Well, I'm going to assume what you mean by that is roster and season preview, because I don't know if you know this. Scratch that. That's really smart ass. I'm sorry. I take it back. You obviously know that you obviously know that Bill Belichick is indeed the head coach of that team, right? So, like, you can't really do a season preview about North Carolina without talking. Like, I can't talk about Florida State without talking about Mike Norvell. I can't talk about Clemson without talking about Dabo Swinney. He is your head coach. Now, all that being said.
See, I think you can. I think you can talk about the X's and O's and not talk about the coach.
You can talk about the X's and O's without the coach. I think you can talk about the roster and you can talk about the dudes.
Yeah, you can. You don't have to mention the coach.
But I do think in order to say, like, okay, you don't have Amari in Hampton next year. You're going with Davion Gauss, who's going to be the running back. He's a sophomore. Amari in Hampton was the bread and butter of this offense last year. He is gone. Here's a cat that's got to step in and try to be Amari in Hampton. Talented back, doesn't really have the XP there. But here's my question mark.
It's a brand new offense. What is it? It's a brand new defense. Exactly. Maybe you don't need to know till you see it on the field. And which might get them a couple victories early on before people figure it out. I mean, it's possible.
I just want to say that our jobs become redundant if our best take is we'll see you week 1. Like, that's not our job is to kind of figure it out.
We are talking about one team. We're not talking about football or sports overall. We're talking about one team. It's okay to have one team that you don't know what you're going to get until you see it. That's all right. And it's okay to say that you don't know what you're going to get till you see it.
Nah, I'm a big fan of knowing what the hell I'm talking about. I do my best. I don't know is the answer, Texter. So there we go. I'll just contradict myself in literally one sentence.
That's kind of cool, by the way. I love the mystery. I can't wait to see what happens. I hope that they dominate the ACC so I can laugh at Rob.
Oh, they're not going to. That is one thing I will be. Now, what I will say, Texter, is that if.
Well, how do you know? You're just speculating.
You're
not
right.
supposed
That's
to
what
do
we
that.
do. It's literally our job is to
That's
speculate
the
all the
what
time.
you just said like 30 seconds ago.
Texter, here's what I'm going to say about your North Carolina Tar Heel football team. I think that, and could be wrong, we'll find out. I think the Belichick hire is going to be an unmitigated disaster. I think it is going to be a real problem for you, not just over the next year, maybe 2, if he makes it to a second year. I do think it is bad enough that I'm willing to say now I don't know if he makes it to year 2.
You do know this has nothing to do with Brady, and that if he's successful, it doesn't take anything away from Brady.
This has nothing to do with Bill Belichick, the NFL guy.
Okay.
This is everything to do.
I mean, you need to separate that because I think
I already have.
I think this has to do with if he's successful, then it tarnishes Brady.
Not
That's
at all.
That's what I think you think.
Not at all.
And since you say I say what I think you think all the time, I'm saying that's what I think you think.
Well, you're wrong. My philosophy with this is the exact same. It is if a player from my biggest rival in college football comes to the New
Who would
Orleans
that
Saints,
be?
I got plenty. I got a list running. If a player from my biggest college football rival was to become a New Orleans Saint, do you know what I give about their college affiliation? Not a single flying.
My bad. You know why I had to have it down?
No, you're right for having it down. I forgot to call for it. If a guy from my biggest rival comes to my NFL team and he plays for my NFL team, I don't give a single flying where he went to college. And the opposite is true. If a dude from my favorite college football team goes to play for the Atlanta Falcons, when we line up against him on Sunday, that guy, I want his ass. You understand me? All right. So this is the opposite. I do not care about Bill Belichick, the head coach of the New England Patriots. I only care about Belichick, the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. But I do think that in order to address and analyze Bill Belichick, the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels, obviously we have to analyze him doing the same thing, just like I would if a guy from my rival came to the Saints and I was like, hey, welcome to the squad. I don't care that you were a whatever in college. I'm glad you're here. You're with us now. You're better. But I'm still going to analyze what he did in college to figure out how he's going to do at the pros. Same is true with Bill. There are question marks that I have. Again, when I look at the offense to start with, that is going to be where Bill is supposed to have the biggest impact. Losing Amario Hampton is no joke. That is a huge loss. I think Amario Hampton was the second best running back in the NFL draft this year behind Ashton Janty, and I'm going to keep it a buck. I think that he is closer to Ashton Janty than anybody gave him credit for. Amario Hampton was this dude is going to be a franchise changer pick of the first round draft. Wasn't going to go as high because not Ashton Janty, and that's running backs, but it is what it is. So what are we looking at across the offense? Way to go, Texter. You just completely changed the trajectory of an entire segment with one text about Bill Belichick. I'm proud of you. As far as the offense goes, you lose Howard Sampson to Texas. That is a big time player. You do get some guys that have come in to the Tar Heel offense. You are bringing in Trayvon Green, 6'7", 340. That's big, dog.
That's
big.
Yeah, that's WWE size big.
I believe my uncle would call it, and I quote, bigger than hell. That boy bigger than hell.
Does your uncle have an accent?
Oh yeah.
Does he?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's from the out there sticks. You go through the sticks to get to where he lives in the sticks.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of a Creole kind of.
No, he redneck.
Oh,
He's
is he?
redneck.
Okay,
Oh, that boy
all right.
bigger than hell. 6'7", 340. Austin Blask is going to be on the other side. NFL size center already. Aiden Banfield is a young guard who's got a little bit. They did have some prospects come in and out. It's a good foundation, but it is an offensive line that is going to have a lot to learn within the Belichick system, which I assume is going to be a hell of a lot more pro style than what any of these guys have experienced.
That's what I was going to ask. In your expert opinion, having a big guy like that, does that mean More run or more pass?
I think it is probably going to set you up to utilize the run primarily. I think it's a pro style offense. I think it is a more often than not, you're coming out of a shotgun with a running back or a under center with a running back. I think you're going tight end split with a slot somewhere in the middle. I think you're going to see a lot of that, like kind of traditional formation, and you'll see some two tights. You'll see this. You know what Belichick's offense was at New England. I think it's that, just without a Tom Brady. But again, the question mark that we have here is twofold. One, where's the quarterback? Where's the quarterback? You had Max Johnson, who was going to get his opportunity. He was the big transfer last year, was a guy expected in to be the guy that comes after the guy in Drake May. He had the leg injury, knocked him out for the season. He will get his shot. You also brought over Gio Lopez, former guy from the University of South Alabama Jaguars. He comes up 3,000 yards, 22 scores, 7 picks, ran for over 600 yards, 9 touchdowns. Here's the thing. Not a big dude. Not a big guy. Not a behemoth, right? You got Lenore Sellers. We've talked about Lenore already this morning. Lenore is part of the reason that he is dangerous as a guy who can pull it, tuck it, run it, is because he's a big old son of a gun. That boy bigger than hell. So when you got a dude who can get to the outside and he's bigger than hell, and he can make to the outside, that's a big thing. Gio Lopez can get to the outside. He can make things happen, but he ain't a big dog. And inside of a pro-style offense, like I think Belichick and the boys are going to run, that doesn't always mesh. I'm not saying it won't. I'm also saying he played at South Alabama. It ain't like he saw the level of competition. And again, we ain't talking about the SEC or the Big Ten. We're talking about the ACC. There's still some dogs in that. You think if they line up against a Clemson, against a Georgia Tech, where Brent Key's been good at that defensive line, where Florida State, even if they were 2-10, they had some big boys in the middle. Do you think that if he can't get to the outside because it's a pro style and he's got to keep it in the middle, that an undersized dude is going to be? I don't know. Got question marks about the wide receiver whore. You brought over Isaiah Johnson from Michigan State. Okay? Like he was kind of faded in the offense there. You bring back Kobe Paysor, the leading receiver last year, at 21 catches, 365 yards. For a guy who's not throwing a pass at the ACC level. You see what I'm saying? Like, the problems at North Carolina run way deeper than whether or not Bill Belichick's a good coach. I'm more concerned about your roster than I am your head coach, and I'm concerned about your head coach. Take a break. Back after this, The Rob Brown Show, Audio Blitz, or your text, whatever. Next on the Fan Upstate.
All right, so you were kicking that so hard it was shaking the board.
I literally did not know I was kicking
and you could hear it on the mic.
Okay.
That's what I was pointing down for.
I thought you were telling me to turn my headphones down. I'm like, can you hear it?
I mean, if you want me to say, hey, stop kicking that, I mean, I tried to not do that.
You gotta get the whiteboard over there that what's his face used to write me messages on all the time. Tim used to grab that whiteboard and he would write down every message to me. I was like, you can just say it, but I can't read lips, so you really can't. North Carolina has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quarterbacks on their roster today. Freshman, senior, sophomore, senior, freshman. They brought in 5 freshmen. Texter says, don't be surprised if Jalen McGill from Mountain View Prep out of Spartanburg is the starting running back. Let's see if we can look up a little something on old Jalen McGill. Is this her? I don't see. Jalen McGill, who had offers from Tech, Rutgers, committed to Rutgers in January, visited Rutgers the same day, decommitted 2 weeks later, got an offer from Duke, got an offer from the Golden Gophers, then got an offer last from North Carolina and signed 2 weeks later, about the time that the hoodie showed up. He also had offers from Alabama, Appalachian State, Auburn, Charlotte. That looks to be had offers. He had a ton of offers. That's interesting. Had offers from Carolina, Alabama, Appalachian State, Auburn, Charlotte, Clemson, Coastal, Connecticut, Duke, ECU, Florida State, Georgia. Damn, this kid had offers as a 3-star. He had offers everywhere. Offer at Texas, offer at Tennessee. So this is one of those things that, like, I figured out the better way to phrase my take is I don't care about recruiting. I care about signing classes, right? Like, I'm not going to follow a kid's recruiting. I'll follow kids once they get signed. Because I get a kid like this who's got 47 offers and he takes 19 visits, and it's like, I'm not going to follow this kid every time he goes for a visit. Like, I'll check in when he signs somewhere, and then if he decommits, we'll pay attention. But, like, that being said, might have a Spartanburger as RB1 for old Hoodie this year.
Hope so. That would be pretty cool. And then Rob would have to pay attention to the team.
I will pay attention to the team because I'm either going to be very right or very wrong.
By the way, he's picked them to be like up top of the ACC the last couple years. North Carolina.
Yeah, I have.
And now all of a sudden you have no interest in it. It just looks like it may be because of a certain.
Do you not care that
coach.
I keep saying the best 3 players in years at North Carolina are all gone?
Yeah,
Does that not matter?
happens in college football every year.
Okay,
players
so-
leave and then other players take their place. That's how that works.
Who's that guy? Because I knew Drake May was going to be a dog when he got there. I knew Amari Hampton's going to be a dog when he got there. Who's the dog?
By the way, in the end, I could care less about the ACC because Clemson is the ACC and they're going to win it. So, I mean. All right, that was my realistic take. I do care about North Carolina because if it's successful, it will change the face of college football. If it fails, then maybe no one tries it again. But if it's successful, then college football becomes even more NFL-like. You're already getting salaries. Once a salary cap's put in there, and if Belichick is successful and other NFL coaches go down there, then there are some people like that show that's on vacation who will just be spasmodic all the time. And someone in Michigan will probably just faint because college football won't be what it used to be. It's called Rob's favorite word, evolution.
All right, so we talked some North Carolina there. Texter says, don't be surprised if Jalen McGill from Mountain View Prep out of Spartanburg is the starting running back at UNC. I went and looked at the kid's profile. Holy crap, he had offers from everywhere. That'll be interesting. Could have a Spartanburger up there at RB1 for UNC. Buckeye Mike says, and I quote, "Bring it, kitty cats." Spectacular. Texter said, I am a...
Sorry, I was a little slow.
Yeah, it is what it is. Happens to the best of us. I am a property maintenance inspector in Spartanburg County. I just got to this area. It just so happens to be the most BFE part of the burg, and the fan radio station does not reach down to the bottom of Spartanburg County. So I will be using the Odyssey app religiously from this day forward for better or for worse. Well, hopefully it's a lot more better than worse, Dexter, but we appreciate that. We're glad to have you on the Odyssey app, and since you already have the Odyssey app open, go ahead and use the Ray Memorial Hotline. Go to that leave a voice message button. Click on it. You get a 60-second message that you can send anytime, day or night, and there's your way to communicate with the show. I have by the way, I keep the website for the Ray Memorial Hotline message populator open on the computer all the time. So if you send me a message, it'll pop up for me right there during the break. I can go listen to it during the break and either play it on the air, save it for the next day, whatever the case is. Go to the Odyssey app, AUDACY. It is free. Go to the Fan Upstate page, click on over, and leave a note on the Ray Memorial Hotline. All right, let's get some sound up in here as we roll through the show today. I got a bunch of stuff. This take is completely not sports related at all. I laughed hysterically. Apparently, there was some award show this weekend out in Hollywood, California. I don't know what it was. I do know Eddie Murphy apparently was saying. I think it was like it was like daytime, man. It was like one of the lesser. Or this is just an old clip and I found it. I don't know, and I don't really care because I laughed so hard at legend of comedy Eddie freaking Murphy, who just popped up out of the blue with a little bit of what I thought was absolutely spectacular advice for those of you looking to go out there and succeed in a creative world.
Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time, so I could literally stand up here and keep saying thank you till they play the piano. But I'm a I'm going to wrap it up and just say something to all the new up-and-coming dreamers and artists that are in the room tonight. I want to let you know that there is a definitive blueprint that you can follow to achieve success, prosperity, longevity, and peace of mind. It's a blueprint, and I followed it my whole career. It's very simple. There's 3 things. You just do these 3 things. Pay your taxes, mind your business, and keep Will Smith's wife's name mouth.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am not a student of stand-up comedy. I tried it once at an open mic a long time ago. It went okay, but not good enough that I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to try this. You learn about setting up a joke, and everybody's got their own style. That might be my favorite joke setup of all time. Because I got to tell you, when I found that clip and he started talking about it, I'm like, you know what? I'm in the entertainment industry. I'm in the creative industry. I'm one of those dreamers. I've been in this game 18 years. I ain't accomplished anything yet, other than being a three-time South Carolina Broadcast Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year, along with Lonzo. But I'm still dreaming. And I was bought in 100% when he said, I got 3 rules. 1, pay your taxes. 2, mind your business. And I'm like, it's pretty good. What's rule number 3? Rule number 3 is keep Will Smith's wife's name out your mouth. Dude, I, in the bed, late at night, started laughing so hard I shook the bed, and the wife woke up and got mad at me for it.
See, I was waiting for him to say number 3, don't pick up people at a certain time of night. That's what I thought he was going to say. So that shocked me.
Let's see.
If you don't know the story, look it up.
No, I do know the story, and I was just going to. Hey, Cal Raleigh was on the Pardon My Take podcast with Barstool Sports, Big Cat PFT the other day, and they asked him a genuine question that I both have never thought to ask. Cal Raleigh, of course, the catcher for the Seattle Mariners, and a good one. Swatting
of course
tongs right now at a rate faster than, well, anybody else ever at that position for the first half. It's incredible. 2 things about Cal Raleigh, because there's 2 clips about it. Number 1, his nickname is, this is not being made up. You're going to see him refer to this during All-Star Weekend. His nickname is the Big Dumper. It means exactly what you think. And that, of course, led to a conversation between Big Cat, PFT, when they ask a question that I've never once asked the catcher and will never again talk to a catcher without asking him.
You ever fart on an ump?
I mean, yeah. I've logged too many innings to not have.
Has an ump ever noticed?
To let one
Be like,
slip.
dude, what was that?
Nobody's ever said anything. Okay. But I mean,
you know when they're thinking it.
Yeah, it's like when you walk in a room and it's the same thing. I mean, I try not to make it a habit.
Yeah.
But you're in that position all the time. You're compressing your body a lot. Sometimes some just squeaks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're squatted down for that long.
Yeah.
Bad pregame meal,
You ever fart on an
I've never once
Just had to play that part twice, didn't
No,
you?
I accidentally clicked it when I was trying to stop it, and we got a little. So I could have run it again. I've never once in my life thought to ask a catcher because, again, think about the position they're in. I'll tell you right now. Again, I'm Cal Raleigh's like 22, and I'm like 40, so we're in different places in my life. But I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I gotta kneel down, contort, bend, whatever. One's coming out every now and then. It's just a reality of being a person. And then, of course, as you get older, it's just kind of thing what it is. Like the other day, I had to get up under the sink to do a little baseline plumbing. I learned from ChatGPT how to change a piece underneath the sink. I'm crawling down under there. I bent down. The wife's in the room because I'm like, hey, can you hand me that wrench? Can you hand me this, that, and the other? And as I kind of got under the sink and rotated over to lay on my back, not only did one get out, it was one I was very proud of or not proud of myself at all, depending on the situation I was finding myself in. In that moment, I was like, she left, and I was on my own to do that project the rest of the time.
Is this Odyssey Upstate power? I mean, as far as smell goes, I mean.
Yeah, no. It was definitely
something that a few steps down the hall you would. Okay.
She left when I needed her the most to help me with this project, and I also 100% did not blame her for it.
Was there a banana on the floor?
No, there were no bananas on the floor. There will never be a banana on the floor because that is weird, and I don't like it. Terrell Hatton is a golfer who plays golf on the Live Tour. Tyrrell Hatton is a dude who is known for having a bit of a temper and an attitude, but he's also this like Northern Irish England guy who like has a very calm. I'll let the clip play to understand. Here's the point. There's not much I love more in sports than a clip where a dude proves that these dudes are just dudes.
His second shot at the par 5 7th. As we mentioned before, he's 7 under par for his second round. And he's got into 4th place overall at 5 under. Well, a tie for 4th anyway with Paul Casey and Richard Bland.
To stay there.
Careful.
Worst hole on the planet. That is bull.
You didn't like it.
He didn't like it. He didn't like it at all.
Sorry, the last word. I think there's a little too much of it. That's why.
Your call, your discretion. It's your job, not mine.
Yeah, I know.
So Tyrrell Hatton, who is again known for having a little pressure.
Sounds like Simon Cowell. You don't think he sounds like Simon Cowell?
I mean, he's got like that same, like that Simon Cowell accent. But if you ever hear the guy talk, like he's hilariously like soft-spoken with the he's got the Simon Cowell accent, but like hilariously soft-spoken. The problem is he 1,000% will drop a worst. Well, he doesn't really like he yells, but like even his yell is like real quiet. He's like worst hole on the planet. That's bleeping bull bleep, and it's like so casual. But also as a golfer, I'm like I totally understand it because he was. I don't know, $180, $190 out, flew one to the green. It stuck on the left-hand side, and he 100% deserved to be rewarded for being aggressive and getting on into big pipe and drive, second shot, aggressive to go on the left-hand side, but it hit. It's on the green, like 10 yards on the green, and then it just stops and rolls backwards, and when it falls off the green on that side, it goes in a lake. So my dude goes from on and two to dropping 4 to try to lay up to one putt for a birdie. Like, it blew his round up in that spot. I just love how calm and casual he is while dropping a bleeping bull bleep loud enough for the Live Tour cameras to catch him. Worst hole on the planet. That's bull. Like, just, I love when the dudes are the dudes. This is why I am pro sideline microphones, anti Karens going, oh, I heard a bad word. Well, then don't listen. Because, like, I like when the dudes are the dudes. And that includes, that's why I love the U.S. Open a couple weeks ago at Oakmont. That's why I love when they put it down and the boys are out there, like, struggling. I got a couple more audio clips for you, and I want to talk about one particular thing when we come back here in just a minute, and that is rivalries in sports. I was having a conversation last night with a dear friend of mine about basketball, because there's an entire genre of videos on the internet. Old basketball players telling stories about their basketball days. It's my favorite genre of entertainment. There's one clip from a couple of real old guys that a buddy of mine were kicking back and going, do we need to bring this back? Is this good? And the answer is yes. Back after this on The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, stepping away for just a minute. Y'all stay right there. Be right back. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. I would like to have a conversation about rivalries in sports. Now, when I say the word rivalry, I think a lot of you, most of you perhaps, are immediately going to go to your college football rival, right? If you're a Clemson fan, you're going to Carolina fan, or a Clemson fan. If you're a Carolina fan, you're going to Clemson. If you're a Panthers fan, you're going to who would you say is Carolina's biggest rival? The Panthers' biggest rival.
The
Is it
look
New
on your
Orleans?
face has got to be the Saints.
I was going to say the Saints, and then I'm like, but we're Atlanta's. Like Carolina's like, yeah, we'll get to y'all when we're done with Atlanta, right? Like they're not our like Atlanta's our rival. Who's Carolina's? Because I don't think it's Atlanta or New Orleans. Those two hate each other. So is it by like Tampa by default? Because I don't really sense any bad blood. I don't think Carolina really has a rival. Like a true
one
rival.
team can have multiple rivals. So I
agree, but you have a rival.
As a fan of the Panthers, they are my NFC team. I can't stand New Orleans.
Exactly. But again,
you're just learning this. That's fine.
We think about Carolina when we're done thinking about Atlanta. Atlanta thinks about Carolina when they're done thinking about us.
That's hilarious because that's poo-pooing their rivalry. Like,
it's a secondary rivalry.
It's like Michigan and Michigan State's the little brother, but Ohio State's actually the big rivalry. Okay,
it's the same thing.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, blah blah blah. When you think about rivalry, you think about that. You think about your road or whatever. But even with the hatred and all that goes along with those rivalries, I wonder if there's a way, and I'm gonna talk about this from an NBA standpoint from a reason, but I also am gonna talk about this. I'm gonna bring it in NASCAR. I'm gonna bring it in football, etc. I think that I would like to see, and I don't know that there is a way to generate this without it in 2025, maybe almost coming across somewhat controversially. I was watching a clip yesterday from a podcast, and I'm not a fan of the Coach JB show. With all due respect, like I don't like his takes. All right, good podcast. Like he's got a lot of dudes that come on, a lot of guys.
Who?
Coach JB. He's the dude that was the coach on Second Chance U. When that Netflix show got real big.
Okay, I've heard of him.
Or sorry, Last Chance U. He was the head coach. Mark used to have him on the show all the time. He does a pod now called the Coach
Mark
JB
who?
Show. Mark Ryan, your old boss.
That would make me walk.
He does a podcast. It's a joke. He does a podcast now called. His name's Jason Brown. He does a podcast called the JB Show. Not my cup of tea. He's very like. I don't know how to say this in a way that's not going to get half of y'all to judge me. I don't care. He's very like old school toxic masculinity coach, right? It's just not my bag. But at the same time, I also understand there's place and time, which is going to kind of be almost hypocritical to what I'm about to say. I think we need as sports, I think we need to bring an emphasis back on rivals. Like I do, because I think we have, and I am guilty of this too. We have focused in the last couple of years about, and I still think it is very important for athletes to have the opportunity to take opportunities, get the bag, take care of themselves and their bodies so that they are able to play for a long time and capitalize on their talent. Yeah. I also kind of want to get back to a point in time where we see athletes who want to kick the crap out of each other. There was a clip that went around not too long ago from Robert Parrish from back in the day. He was talking about those old Celtics-Lakers rivalry, and he was talking about the Lakers, and he started naming off some of them, and he was like, yo, bleep that guy. Yo, these rivalries have been over for 40-plus years, 50-plus years in some cases. But he's still, to this day, there are clips going around of, like, the old Celtics that are still with us and the old Lakers that are still with us, still telling each other, hey, bleep off, buddy. Like, it's great. So JB turned around and he had a couple of the old Lakers on the show. And they come on, and he played the clip for like 3 or 4 of them, and they all at the same time went, and I directly quote, yo, Robert Parrish. And like went off about how now these men in their like 60s and 70s were like, I will beat his ass today, right? And
come on, you feel that way about some people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, beef.
And
I mean,
the folks that I feel that way about when I talk about them on the radio, I will say, honestly, probably makes it a little more compelling than when I talk about people I like but disagree with, right? So I think we need to bring back that. And here's one spot. I was watching the NASCAR race in Atlanta this weekend. So put this in context with, here's some dudes that had a rivalry going back in the 70s, early 80s, that in 2025 are still saying you to each other because they played on opposite teams. Now, for the record, both of these guys, or all these guys that were having the conversation, they said, look, I don't actually hate this guy. We have the same mentality. We want to win more than anything else in the world. And if you happen to be the guy wearing the opposite color, then bleep you too. And the guys on my team, I might have hated them off the court, but I love them when it's... That's a true rivalry. For the time between tip and final whistle, I hate you because you're wearing those colors. And the boys behind me, even if I hate them outside of this building, they are my brothers right now. I want that. So, segue real quick over to NASCAR. I was watching the NASCAR race this weekend. And I talked a little bit about it last week. I thought that there was an interesting aspect that was added to it, which is the NASCAR in-season, they're calling it challenge, but it is quite literally an in-season tournament. They took 32 drivers over the past handful of races. They seeded them 1 through 32, and then they created a 1v32, 31v2, 30v3, whatever bracket. And over the next handful of races, from 32 to 16 to 8 to 4 to 2 to 1, they are going to eliminate each other single elimination style. So it's like, if you're number one, and that's 32, whoever finishes ahead of the other on that race, or whoever goes further in the race, they win and they move on. If you do not, you lose and you are eliminated. Doesn't matter who you are. And at the end, there is a straight-up check for a milli to whoever wins this thing. Well, NASCAR, over the past couple of years, I think, has kind of, to some degree, lost villains, heels, bad guys. There are a few out there that come close, but there's not really that guy. The closest I think we've had in a couple of years is Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin is a dude who, after getting a win, will talk smack to a stadium full of fans. In fact, he's even developed a bit of a catchphrase because of a bar that he dropped a couple of years ago after winning a night race at Bristol.
Second at Kansas, and he winds up winning the Bristol night race, another crown jewel. I think you're starting to like this with the fans, a little banter you have going back and forth, do you?
Oh, man, it's, everybody likes a winner, right? So it's, can't thank this whole FedEx team enough. Just, you know, they really kicked ass this whole first round. Just amazing how good our team has been. Just so happy about the way we're running, and can't wait to keep going.
You've made many championship 4 runs, Denny. Is something different with the 11 team this year, though?
It's our year. I just feel like we've got it all put together. We got the speed, every single type of racetrack, and, you know, nothing to stop us at this point.
So are these fans motivation for you? There's a lot of boos out there.
Hey, I beat your favorite driver.
And who would that be?
All of them.
Denny Hamlin goes ultra mega heel here. First he gets out of the car. He immediately goes to get the checker flag, but he is giving it to the fans that are booing him.
They're dirty doming him.
100%. Mega heat.
And you notice how the announcer is encouraging it.
100%. So he goes back to the car. They do like a regular interview. You got to answer the questions, but then he says, "Oh, talk," and you can hear the announcer like when he's going to address the fans. He gets a little louder and he kind of points it out. He's like, "They're booing you. What do you think?" And Denny Hamlin drops the bar of, "I just beat your favorite driver," and the guy goes, "Who?" And he goes, "All of them." And he quite legit walks away like he's just going, he vaporizes into the ether like it's incredible. Well, this weekend he was in the bracket, and he was in the bracket with Ty Dillon. And guess what? Ty Dillon kicked his ass. And Ty Dillon, at the end of that, said,
all you Denny fans out there,
I just knocked your favorite driver out.
Now, there was more to the interview, and it's not. Now, Ty Dillon's a real nice guy. He's the baby face that doesn't really he's new. He's a young cat. He doesn't really know how to work the mic to get the crowd going.
Yeah.
And on top of that, this is happening way in pit crew, way down pit road, not in front of the fans. But he basically says, I know Denny's bar, and I just pinned him 1, 2, 3 clean center of the mat. So I'm going to drop his line back on him. Hey, Denny fans, I just beat your favorite driver. Even if the delivery was lacking, Ty, call me, I'll coach you up.
It was like CM Punk trying to rap.
100%, the delivery was lacking, much like John Cena trying to rap. So, call me, Ty, I got you on the delivery thing. But, I like it. I like that you used his own bar when you bumped him. And a lot of people were giving him crap. A lot of people were busting him up. Like, do you really want to do that? Whatever. To the defense of Ty Dillon calling out Denny Hamlin, who should step in and defend him for that comment? Denny Hamlin.
Ty Dillon, he beat me. Give him his moment, people. He was ahead of me the whole race. He texted me. He was like, hey, I was just playing around. I'm like, bro, I loved it.
This kid gets it. Denny Hamlin gets it. It is okay to get out there, get after it. Have a rival. Have a dude that you talk bleep to. You go back and forth. Maybe you throw your helmet at their car when they run by on the track. Maybe you drop their own catchphrase when you beat them down there in pit road. Whatever. It's okay to do that and recognize it's for the good of the sport. Look, it's very obvious when Denny Hamlin is running these races that he 100% knows, as Kyle Busch did for a long time when he was running in his prime, and I think he might find his way back later on in the year. We'll see, but Kyle Busch did it in his prime when Dale Sr. passed on, and it was very evident that Jeff Gordon was kind of heir to the NASCAR throne. He also recognized that, whether you liked it or not, Dale Sr. was gone. And there had to be a face of the sport. And at the time, and I will acknowledge this is very early in Rob Brown's NASCAR fandom, so I'm not as well-versed on this as some of you old hats maybe, but they needed a guy. Jeff Gordon was the best out there. And people hated Jeff Gordon. Oh, he's from California. We don't want that in our NASCAR. His car's got a rainbow on it. We ain't going to stand for that around these parts. When that all happened, he was hated. And what did he do? He just kind of went, all right, screw it. Lean into it, right? Just whatever. If you're going to hate me, you're going to hate me. I'm going to give you a reason to hate me. I remember one of my very first NASCAR races when I asked a buddy of mine, who are the guys I should know? And he was kind of walking me through and explaining, here's who this guy is, and here's who this guy is, and here's Jeff Gordon, and he drives a DuPont Chevrolet, number 24 DuPont Chevrolet. And his car's got a rainbow paint scheme on it. And everybody hates him. And I went, why'd they hate him? And he kind of gave me all the reasons, one of which was connected to that paint scheme, let's just say. And I went, okay, that's my guy. That's my guy. So I went and bought a Jeff Gordon T-shirt and jacket and wore it to a bar for my very first race. And y'all, I caught eyes. I got words from a bunch of old redneck good old boys up in that bar, and I gave them hell right on back. To the point that my buddy was like, all right, buddy, calm down, chill out. We got to go, right? Didn't care, because that's fun. But that's what I'm saying. Give me more of that. Give me some rivalry. Give me some straight-up head-to-head competition. Give me Robert Parrish and half the Lakers 50 years later going, look, I respect his game. I respect the mentality. He wanted to win, and he was willing to kill me to do it, and I wanted to win, and I was ready to kill him to do it. So I respect it, but also that guy. Give me that. And I'm fine with the recognition of I respect Ty Dillon. And yes, he dropped my catchphrase on me 13 seconds after he knocked me out of the tournament. 13 seconds after he cost me $1 million. 13 seconds after he beat me in a race. 13 seconds after he made my whole season tougher. He dropped my own catchphrase on me. And a lot of people are like, I can't believe you did that. Why would you show out like that? Well, the answer is because Denny shows out all the time. And if you're going to show out, expect to get shown up when you don't show out. And Ty did that. And as much as I have said, credit to Ty for dropping that bar on Denny, I would also say on the flip side, props to Denny for recognizing what it is and what that means. Because even though he's out of the race now, and this is something I didn't really think about last week when we were talking about this, he's out of the race now. If Denny Hamlin wanted to be one petty son of a biscuit eater, what could he do next week? Take out Ty Dillon. I'm not saying wreck him, but I'm just saying, here comes Ty. Maybe he's in, 14th, 15th place. Denny's in 11th, 10th. They're running up, and he knows that the guy that Ty Reddick's matched up against in round number 2 is 2 cars ahead of him. What if Denny just kind of like slides up and throws a block, covers up the outside lane, lets this guy get, like, he could be petty. And if he ends up costing Ty Reddick, as much as he loved Ty Dillon, as much as he loved the fact that Ty dropped the bar of his own line on his head, he could absolutely go, I'm going to be a petty dude. I'm going to keep him from winning that $1 million. He's not getting it with me. Now we got a full-blown rivalry. And as a buddy of mine said last night when we were talking about this clip, because we're one of our late-night things last night was we're both on Instagram, and we are watching these clips from podcasts where old basketball players are telling like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan stories, like telling these great stories from back in the day. But one of the things that is a common theme in so many of them, I'm going to play one for you coming up here in a minute because I got one about John Stockton that is hilarious. One of the things that you pick up on about a lot of these is, man, the stuff that used to fly back in the day that is not even close to what is considered a limit now, I kind of feel like we need it. Like, I kind of feel like the NBA would be better off if we had not a Lakers-Celtics rivalry, because there's rivalries, but like a rivalry where they want to murder each other after the game. A rivalry where they are willing to grab mics on random podcasts and go, yo, Robert Parrish, 50 years later, bring that back. I'm begging you. I'm also begging you to stick around for the next 60 seconds for this Sports Flash.
By the way, the murder mentioned was verbal. That's all.
Always.
Verbal.
I'm nonviolent. I'm a pacifist.
The NBA free, don't sound pacifist, that entire segment. The NBA free agency period opened up last night. Amongst the moves made were Denver sending Michael Porter Jr. and an unprotected 2032 first round pick to Brooklyn in return for Cam Johnson. The move gets Denver under the luxury tax. Former Laker D'Angelo Russell signing a 2-year, $13 million deal with the Dallas Mavericks with the second year as a player option, and Brook Lopez signing a 2-year, $18 million deal with the Clippers. The Miami Dolphins and Pittsburgh Steelers made a huge trade yesterday with Miami sending defensive back Jalen Ramsey and tight end Jonnu Smith to Pittsburgh in return for defensive back Minka Fitzpatrick. Miami will also trade their 7th-round pick for Pittsburgh's 5th in the 2027 draft. The Atlanta Braves have a dozen games and 13 days left in the first half of the regular season. The first 6 begin tonight. Listen, as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and I know Denver is not what they once were, I can't stand Denver. And I want them to destroy Denver every time they play them. It doesn't matter if they're down or not. They can have one win the entire season. I still want Kansas City to beat them. And Rob just found out after working together 5 years that I don't like the Saints. I never have. You know what? I don't like Atlanta either. I don't like Tampa Bay either. I don't know if in the NFL, if there's just one team that I want to see lose more than any other. There are several that I want to lose every game. One would be Buffalo. One would be Denver. New England would be in there. I don't care if things have changed. And most of it has to do with the interaction with people, not with the teams themselves. Denver fans are punks. Buffalo fans are annoying. And the RPSA come to life when WWE says, we are professionals, don't try this at home. Buffalo fans go, watch me. It's okay, though, because I know football season is 2 weeks away because this promo is playing. It's weird because Rob's over there, but I hear Rob in my speakers. It's magic. Yeah, Chargers, I don't care about the Chargers. I mean, I don't like the Raiders either, but the Chargers, I just don't care. What are the Chargers going to do?
Actually, I think the Chargers are a playoff team this year. Wild card.
They've been a playoff team a bunch. They just haven't done anything once they got there. That's why, James, I won't watch Buffalo versus Denver unless I have to, unless it's for work. Because I can't stand either team. And one of them will have to win. Unless there's a tie, which we know is possible.
Final hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. It's the Fan Upstate. Be a part of the show, won't you? 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. You can utilize that number to text the radio broadcast if you would like to come at us in that direction. You can use that number to call the radio broadcast if you'd like to jump at us in that direction. You can also get at us on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show. You can get at Lonzo at Lonzo on Word. Everybody up in here at The Fan Upstate. At The Van Upstate, if you want to come at us in that direction. Also follow us across our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, at The Fan Upstate. That is also where you can join us on our live stream, which is live right now. And also every day that we do the show from 6 till 10 a.m. Available at thefanupstate.com. Scratch that at facebook.com/thefanupstate. That's how you do it. At Twitter, at thefanupstate. And on YouTube, The Fan Upstate. The Rob Brown Show, available on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitch. Because we're young, hip, cool, and with it. No squares up in here. All right, so join the live stream. We're live 4 hours every single day that we are live, unless we aren't here or don't want to be. But most days we do, and most days we are. Pal. Buddy. Got a couple other things to tell you about. By the way, the return. You're ever so welcome if you actually use it this time around. Tried to make it a thing last time. We had like a handful of people who were getting involved. New and improved. And by that, I mean exactly the same as it was last time, except for it's back now. The Ray Memorial Hotline is back. Let me tell you how that works. You go to the Odyssey app, AUDACY. You download it. It is free in your app store. You're welcome. You go once you're in the Odyssey app on your digital device of choice. Once you're in, you go to the Fan Upstate via the search button. You open it up. When you get there, you're going to see the Fan Upstate. You're going to see the smiling mugs of Basil and Cole Bryson right there on the front page looking at you. You might find mine somewhere on there. I don't know. Then.
And no, you won't find mine. You know.
Do you want to be on there?
It's on the side of the building.
Exactly.
That's good enough for me. But yeah, whatever.
Go to the Odyssey app. Go to the Fan Upstate page and click.
You wouldn't feel a certain way if I were saying all that and didn't mention you. You wouldn't feel a certain way. That wouldn't bother you a little bit.
I mean, again.
You're accurate. It's not on there, but I'm just saying.
So again, you want to be? I'll go get it fixed.
No, you.
I'll handle business.
No,
That's what I
won't.
do around here.
You won't.
Handle business.
You can't.
Go to the Fan Upstate page. Click on the Listen Live button. You can listen to the station 24/7, 365 days a year. It is available at your demand. On demand, I believe is what the kids say nowadays. And then next to that, there is another button. That other button says leave a voice message. You click on that button, and you have the ability, using just your phone and that sweet, sultry voice of yours, the opportunity to make a 60-second voice recording that comes directly to me on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. You go there, you click on that leave a voice message button on the Fan Upstate's homepage. It's a 60-second opportunity to say whatever you want to say, however you say it, whenever you want to say it, from wherever you want to say it. It could be at 2 o'clock in the morning. It could be 2 in the afternoon. It could be on your way to work in the morning, on your way home from work in the afternoon. If Diesel and Cole say something that infuriates you in the nighttime and you want to call them out on this show, have at it. If I say something that infuriates you in the daytime but you can't get to it until later today, send it then. Go to the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Grab the Fan Upstate page. Go to the Fan Upstate. Click the leave a voice message button and leave a voice message. The improved, but only slightly, Ray Memorial Hotline is there for you. Let's talk, let's talk a little more NBA, shall we? Had a big day yesterday. Had a lot yesterday that I think we need to get to out of the NBA. Let's start with some of the teams that I think are either contenders or are trying to be next year. The Nuggets made a very interesting splash last week. Not with a player move, but more with a move behind a desk when the general manager of the Nuggets got behind a microphone. And I don't really know why he decided to say in a moment that I was like, dude, do you really want to say that out loud? He got behind a mic and he said, look, because of the way the finances in the NBA work, because of the way that our contracts are structured here in the Mile High City, there is a nightmare scenario where we end up past the apron to threshold. There's nothing we can do about it contractually, and we are obligated to let Nikola Jokic walk away from this team. Now, I could be wrong about this, but unless the Nuggets just refuse to get better over the next couple of years, Jokic, and again, could very well be wrong, strikes me as one of those cats that, like, I don't want to go through the hassle of moving. I want to go back home and play with my horses and hopefully win a couple of NBA championships in the process. I don't think he wants to go anywhere. Again, could be wrong. I don't know the guy personally, haven't talked to him, but he's never said anything like that. In fact, a couple of times moving to a new team has been mentioned. Jokic is always kind of like, nah, I got to, like, get a U-Haul. And I got to, like, ask friends to help me. I don't want to do that. Stop offering to pay people in pizza and beer. All right, give people money. All right, you get it. So, Jokic says, Denver says there is a nightmare scenario where we may have to let Nikola Jokic walk. They avoided it yesterday. They trade Michael Porter Jr. and an unprotected 2032 first-round pick to the Brooklyn Nets. Now, this is it's kind of risk-reward because the Nuggets got to go in right now. Like, they got to go in right now. The guys that are around Jokic and Jamal Murray and these dudes, they're going to be good for the next couple of years, but, like, they're all getting older, and by the time 2032 rolls around, Jokic is going to be, like, 38, and Murray's going to be, like, 35, right? So, like, you got to do this now. Whereas the Nets are looking and going, we're not going to be good for a while, right? So, like, let's get it unprotected. And they are banking that by the time Jokic and Murray get to be 38 and 35 years old in 2032 or whatever it is, by the time they get there 7 years from now, they're betting that the Nuggets will be out of magic, out of shine. And that pick, because it is unprotected, could potentially be as high as a lottery pick. So they've got basically a handful of years to build up that franchise, to stock a few number ones and get ready for that pick down the line. On the flip side, the Nuggets also save a ton of money off the cap by bringing in a guy who is as good of a defender as Michael Porter Jr., but a better shooter. And that was the frustration with MPJ last year, along with some injuries that kind of limited him. He was not a great shooter in the postseason. In fact, a lot of Denver fans, some of the Denver analysts I've had on the network shows, have said that the belief is MPJ was the reason that there was a lot of injuries going into that Game 7 against Oklahoma City, but MPJ's ability to generate anything offensively was the reason that OKC was able to kind of like just outpace Nikola Jokic on the outside and win that Game 7. So that's a big interesting deal here. D'Angelo Russell's not good at basketball. I don't understand the move by the Mavericks. They needed a guard. I get that. They used a $5.7 million taxpayer mid-level exemption to sign D'Angelo Russell, a one-time All-Star who averaged 12.6 and 5.1 per game for the Lakers. I also want to point out here, and I gave some credit earlier this week to the Charlotte Hornets for Buzz City, y'all. And I'm going to do it again here. We told you about the trade that they made. They sent Yusuf Nurkic out to Phoenix. And in return, Utah. And in return, they got Colin Sexton, a guard who off the bench was averaging like 16, 8 and 4 last year? They got Sexton and they got a second-round pick for Yusuf Nurkic. I'll tell you right now, Charlotte, you're kind of killing it right now. Like, honestly, this is, and I've been here 5 years, this is easily, by far and away, no questions asked, no debate about it, welcomed nor entertained, the best offseason I've seen Charlotte have in a very long time. I love the draft class. I love Con Knippel as the outside shooter. Again, not the guy I would have gone with. I'd have got Ace Bailey and told him, suck it up, Buttercup. You're in the NC now. But you decided that was too much drama. I get it. And I think a lot of that is to do with the fact that Charles Lee is trying to build a culture in that locker room. I've said it a couple times. I gave him a bunch of credit last year because at one point, about a third of the way through the season, LaMelo Ball was playing all-star caliber point guard. And there were conversations I remember on Inside the NBA on TNT last night. One night, not last night, because it's not on TV anymore, sad face emoji. One night they were having a conversation about LaMelo Ball, and I don't remember if it was Kenny or if it was Ernie, but they asked Shaquille O'Neal and Sir Charles Barkley himself if LaMelo Ball might quietly be the best point guard in the NBA. And they both were like, I don't think he's there yet, but he's getting closer and you can see it. LaMelo Ball was playing all-star caliber ball, and then it got to a point where it became obvious that LaMelo Ball had no interest in playing defense. And granted, he's probably trying to save the legs up, tread on the tire, running pretty thin for that young man. We all know that. But wasn't playing defense. Go down there, do amazing things, score a point, get a bucket, get a dime, whatever, and then would run back, and he would just kind of like stand there with the arms out and be like, oh, you got by me. Like the opening scene of Daria. You remember that cartoon Daria back in the day? Did you ever watch Daria on MTV?
No.
Oh, man. Daria was about this, like, nerdy, reclusive video game girl in high school, and all her friends. She had one goth girlfriend, and then it was, like, all the popular kids around her, and it was just 100% commentary on being an outcast, and that show made me feel good about my life.
I have nothing in common with that person.
No, of course. Of course. I love Daria. That's a great show. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of like that. So, LaMelo gets sat, comes back, plays better, then he gets injured and obviously has to go away for a while. But I think it became very obvious to me that Charles Lee's trying to build a culture. And if it means having to sit a guy who's playing all-star caliber ball, if it means he has to sit a guy that is a game changer but won't play defense, so be it, he'll do that. Well, who they go draft? They got 3 players. They got Con Knippel out of Duke. They needed a shooter. They needed an outside guy. They needed a guy that LaMelo could drive and have an outlet emergency shot available or drive, collapse a defense, and either go inside or outside. They got both of those done at the same time. They got Con Knipple to be a wing shooter. Not a guy who's going to do a lot of shot creation, but a guy that if you get it to him off the rip, on a drive and a quick hit out to the corner, he can knock that shot down. Then you got Ryan Kalkbrenner, the 7'2" out of Creighton. Somebody yesterday called them the Flyover State Duke yesterday, which is like my favorite nickname for a college ever. Kind of the same guy, right? Like just a gritty down low 7'2" tall pick and roll player. And then on the other side, you got Duke teammate of Con Knipple, Zion James. You pop in on the other side. Here's the offense that I'm seeing right now. LaMelo at the top. I'm putting the 7'2" at the free throw line. I'm putting Knipple down at the wing or on the extended free throw line. LaMelo is going to take the rock, and he's going to drive to one side or the other, depending on where Con Knipple is being less contested. Knipple to the corner. He drives. Kalkbrenner up to the free throw line, sets the pick and roll. LaMelo goes to the inside or the outside, whichever way he goes. Kalkbrenner rolls off the other way, and the two of them roll to the basket together. And as they're rolling to the basket together, there goes Con Knipple on the outside at the same level. I want 7'2", LaMelo Ball, three-point ace on the outside, and all three rolling at the same depth together. So now when LaMelo gets in there, he gets to look and go, okay, I'm doubled up, and it's from the inside. Bang, there's my 7'2" on the roll. I'm doubled up. It's from the outside. Bang, there's my kick out to Con Knipple, my ace three-point sniper. Or I'm single team, and I'm LaMelo Ball. Pew, to the rack I go. Easy. Mwah, up off the glass. Let's get the bucket. I actually really like this. But I like, on top of the fact that this sets up I think, very intriguing NBA offense, with a couple of guys that do have to, actually three guys that do have to prove themselves, because all of that does rely on it. Zion James, by the way, Zion James on the backside to be the like, oh bleep, they figured it out. Okay, kick it out to the outside. That kid can drive and score. I think the other side of this is all three guys that were brought in are culture dudes. You know what Con Knipple is. You know who he is. That kid, he's just that kid from Duke. He's just that guy from Duke. He's going to be a little pest. He's going to work. He's going to be everywhere. You bring in Zion James, his teammate, a secondary role player at Duke, but understood that he was a secondary role player to Con Knipple, to Cooper Flagg. Why not pair him up with that dude? Let them grow together. They are going to work off of each other. Boom. Con Knipple sets the mood. That kid follows it. And then I go get the big man up out of Creighton, Kalkbrenner. I put him down low. Again, I watched that kid play a lot of games last year because the Creighton Blue Jays are like a running joke. Creighton beat Alabama in the tournament like 8, 9, 10 years ago. I think the Sweet 16. When Alabama, I think it was maybe Nate Oates' first year there, but Creighton beat them. And it's been a running joke for years that Creighton is the South's favorite team of the North in basketball, because not only did they beat Alabama, I think they beat them again the next year. Or maybe it was a year after that. But I think Creighton got Alabama twice at a point in time where Bammers were convinced that their basketball team was ready to rival Kentucky. And Creighton got them twice, either in a row or bad. And everybody was like loving it. We were like watching I was down in Florida watching the Bama crash out. So everybody's kind of like, I've followed Creighton since then. So I watched the Jays play a couple of times. This kid, he's not flashy. He's not spectacular. He's not big and powerful like Shaq. He's not like finesse going to shoot. I mean, he can, but not going to be finessing threes on the outside like Victor Wembanyama. He's kind of right there in the middle. Jack of all trades, master of none. Big man, but that means I can kind of utilize him to enhance the guys on the outside, not feel like I have to dominate the middle and then play it out to them. But with options with a shooter in Knipple, with options with a guard with LaMelo, with options on the backside with Zion, and then you got 2 or 3 dudes on the roster that can fill in the other spot, I kind of like Charlotte's offseason. I kind of really like what they are building right now under Charles Lee. They got the culture. I think they've put together a good locker room, and they've got a bunch of pieces that work together. Will it? I don't know. I hope I'm right. We'll find out. But I like it on paper for whatever that's worth. All right. Got a couple more things I want to get to before we get up out of here for the day. We did a list earlier. We did Josh Pate's top 10 top 10 games of the season. How about this one? Michael Cohen from FoxSports.com put together a list of the teams most likely to make their first playoff appearance this year. Who you got? We'll talk about that and maybe other list when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Gunther. Gunther. Buddy of the show. Is it inappropriate to say that with a German accent because it's Austrian accent? Fair enough. All right. Pardon me just a minute, dudes and dudettes. Y'all stay right there. BRB. All right, peak off season continues. This is, of course, the point in time that I also call hashtag ranking season. It is where you rank things. That's how you kill segments. That's how you kill hours. And I am not saying that I'm above that or that it's bad. I'm just going to break down other people's lists. That's the easiest thing for me. I'm going to
Makes
support,
it sound
criticize,
like
critique other
it's
people's
fluff,
opinions.
it's fill, like you don't have anything. It's entertaining. That's why he's talking about it.
I mean, to each their own. To each their own. Like I I don't know. There are some lists that I'm entertained by. There are others that aren't. I used to work for a dude. Scratch that. I used to work for somebody who hired a dude a long time ago who would start at 99 days away from the countdown to college football kickoff. 99 days away, he would literally do his entire show of who are the best players in college football history to wear number 99. Not football, just college football history to wear number 99. And literally his 4-hour show would be getting people to call in and go, Warren Sapp down at Miami. And he'd go, tell me why. Well, he was this, and this. All right, tell me a story about it. And that was like his whole show. And so I think I was put off lists for a long time. I'm not saying lists are bad. I'm saying some lists are bad. Like I don't know. I don't need a ranking of the best colored socks in college football. Some people go too far. It's like everything else. In moderation, don't go too far. Here's a list. I like this list because I think this list has got some interesting talking points on it. Michael Cohen, college football writer for FoxSports.com, has put together a list. His list is teams that could, capital C, capital O, capital U, capital L, capital D. I got halfway through that word. I'm like, am I spelling this right? I panicked. We did. We're good. Could make their first college football playoff appearance this year. Here are the teams that he has in the order that he says it is likely that they do so. Yay or nay from you, upstate of South Carolina, to let us begin with a team that last year went 10-3, 6-2 in conference. Overall, they bring back 3 offensive starters, 4 defensive starters. They had the number 14 overall recruiting class coming in this year and the number 1 recruiting class in conference. In the transfer portal, the number 3 overall transfer portal class coming into this year, the number 1 transfer portal conference in transfer portal class in their conference. They have the 41st most difficult strength of schedule. Michael Cohen says the team most likely to make the playoffs for the very first time is the Hurricanes of Miami. Anybody trust Mario Cristobal? Anybody? Because I was on with a couple of college football bros yesterday, and none of them trust Mario Cristobal. How could I trust Mario Cristobal? Great. When you ever had a situation where you looked at somebody and you're like, I think you could be good for that job, but then they do like just one thing, not like a pattern of things, one thing that is so egregious that you look at them and it's like, that's just the definition of that person from then?
Yeah, that happens all the time.
I mean, just one thing. Last year's Miami-Georgia Tech game is Mario Cristobal to me. That game where all they had to do was take a knee. This is basic clock stuff. This is the stuff that if I was playing that game on EA Sports College Football 2026, it's in the game. And that situation popped up. My nephew would say, Uncle Rob, take a knee. He knows what taking a knee is. And he knows how to do the math to figure out if you can take a knee. I have to do the math in my head to figure it out. He gets it. He gets it. Take a knee, Uncle Rob. Take a knee, Uncle Mario. Mario did not take a knee. They ran the ball. They fumbled the ball. They turned it over. Georgia Tech goes the length of the field. Georgia Tech scores. Miami loses. I don't believe in Miami. Now, I believe in the talent they have. They've got an incredible amount of talent, as we just pointed out. Arguably the best recruiting class and best recruiting class out of the portal in the ACC. They are also granted by Fox Sports the number 3 overall portal class and the number 14 overall recruiting class. That's pretty solid. I also don't know how I feel about Carson Beck, to keep it a buck. Like he's getting that dollar bills, y'all. I just don't believe. The second team most likely to make their debut in the college football playoffs this year, coming off of a 9-4 season last year, 5-3 in conference. They returned 5 offensive starters, 4 defensive starters. They are the number 18 overall recruiting class coming in, but number 11 in the conference. They have the number 15 overall transfer portal class, but the number 8 in their conference. They also are saddled with the 13th most difficult schedule in all of college football, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Cohen's second most likely team to make the college football playoffs for the very first time is the Gamecocks of South Carolina. He says, and I quote, there is a direct correlation between the surging optimism at South Carolina, a program that has finished better than third in the SEC just once over the last decade. Okay, make it personal, bud. And the rapid emergence of quarterback Lenora Sellers as one of the most exciting players in the country. At this time last summer, Sellers, then a largely unknown redshirt freshman, had only played 21 collegiate snaps and had yet to make his first start. He arrived at South Carolina as a modestly recruited four-star prospect. The Gamecocks were the only SEC program to offer him a scholarship, and it was difficult to predict how this dual threat approach would translate. I can read. I'm good at this. After Sellers threw for over 2,900 yards and 45 touchdowns while also rushing for 1,317 scores as a senior in high school. If you would have expected Sellers to South Carolina, blah, blah, blah. The whole paragraph is Lenoris is really good, and they're probably going to win because of that, which is fine. 6'3", 240. He calls him a 6'3", 240-pound wrecking ball who is a potential Heisman Trophy candidate. I've been telling you that for a couple of weeks. We're going to learn out the gate real quick. Because this Ramblin' Wreck of Virginia Tech team that they will be taking on a Sunday afternoon, the only college football game in town on that date at that time, is old Shano's Poppy's old team versus Frank's son's new team. And you're going to find out. Because the Ramblin' Wreck, scratch that, that's the other Tech, Virginia Tech, the Hokies. The made-up mascot people. That's who I'm talking about here. This kind of feels like a big-time opportunity game for a team that is right now getting it from their fans. They thought that Coach Pry was going to be the guy for VT. Gosh, I wish their name ended in I. It does not. They're not happy right now. They lost a ton of recruits. They lost recruits to Virginia. They lost recruits to Georgia Tech. They lost recruits to Bill Belichick. Like, their recruiting class fell apart this past year. And then you include last year that they fell. So this is a big time year. You're going to get it out of the gate in game one. That's a big game for this team. I would also point out that, as we said, and yes, I know that they have a difficult schedule every single year, but South Carolina's schedule is one of the top 15, I argue one of the top 10 toughest schedules in college football point blank period this year. It is nasty this year. You got a back half of the schedule that includes LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Clemson, and that's in a 7-week stretch. Those are teams that I think are playoff team, playoff threat, playoff team, playoff threat, playoff threat, playoff frontrunner. That's the back half of your schedule. The back half of your schedule, theoretically. Now, not all of them are going to go because I don't think the SEC's getting more than winner, runner-up, maybe two more. Maybe at max you get 5. Maybe the SEC gets 5. There's a theoretical chance that of the 6 games down the stretch, LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Clemson, there is a chance Clemson goes, and then you could pick 3 of the others. There's a chance that of your final 6 opponents, 4 of them are in the college football playoff. That is a bracket. Like, that is a run through a playoff bracket. That's a tough spot. Is South Carolina good enough to individually beat LSU? Yeah, you're going to have to play pretty good, close to perfect football. Is South Carolina good enough individually to beat Oklahoma? Yes. Is South Carolina good enough to individually beat Alabama? Should have last year. Holy crap, what a game. Are they good enough to beat Ole Miss? Yes. Are they good enough to beat Texas A&M? Yes. Paper says otherwise, but we also know about A&M. It's a cult. They fall apart late. Are you good enough to beat Clemson? Hey, you were good enough to beat Clemson last year. You got better this year. I do say, going to be a different Clemson team with Tom Allen at the controls on the defense. They have made a commitment to get back to the old ground and, or what do they call it? Ground and pound. And it's not ground and pound. What's Clemson's? I'm just blanked on what Garrett Riley calls his office. You know what I mean? Spray and pound, round and ground and throw it a lot and also run it. You know what I'm talking about. That one. That team's different this year, the Clemson Tigers are. So with the Gamecocks of South Carolina.
I believe it's Meow and Cow.
That is it. The Meow and Cow offense that they run out there at Clemson. Yeah, I'm really mad you came up with that as quickly as you did. That's good.
Not bad for a producer.
Damn it. Co-host and executive producer. Dude, it was a joke. So, I had to make a silly joke. I'm interested to see where this one goes. But I think you're good enough to beat Clemson. I also think Clemson's good enough to beat you. You are looking at, in the back half of that schedule, in the final 6 games of that schedule, anywhere from half to more than half of that field being actual playoff teams. This is why I said starting this schedule off with a bang is important, and you better understand you're getting Virginia Tech's best shot. Virginia Tech's best shot should not be good enough to beat you. It should not be good enough to beat the South Carolina Gamecocks, but if you are off your game, if it takes a while to get Lenore's going, if the run game can't figure it out, whether or not they have face-on back there, if all that happens, unlike years gone by, respectfully, you do not have a margin of error this year in the games that you are supposed to win. You do not have the margin of error that you have had years gone by. Because it's like we need to get to 6 wins to make sure that we are a bowl team, right? The margin of error this year may be the difference between being a playoff team and being a bowl team. And you don't have it with the dumb games like Virginia Tech because of how much you don't have it with these big games. All right, we'll take a look at some more college football and wrap this bad boy up when we come back. I am Rob Brown. He is the great one, Lonzo, and you're listening to The Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate. Be right back, dudes. Brown Show, final segment of the day, final segment of the day. I don't know why I was about to say the week. What is...
It is
Final
a
segment of
short
the day.
week, and you're trying to get there, or
That's
maybe this show is making you wanting it to be the last one, so you don't have to come back tomorrow. I mean, it could be a lot of things.
I was in fairness, I also got another 4 hours to do this afternoon too. So we're just burning it up.
This is going to become a thing.
I haven't even seen it yet. I'm already terrified.
It's going to be a thing. It's my theme for the season.
The old meowing cow offense.
It's my theme.
Says Brandon checking
It's
in on
my
the stream.
theme for the season. So get ready.
This is the definition of encouraging him.
What? I'm semi-creative on occasion. So
Are you going to take the cat sounder and now add a cow sounder on
I'm
the front of
already
it? and
thinking
just
about it.
Smush
Yeah.
them together.
No. They've got to be separate because it's meow and cow.
It sounds like a cartoon. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see
That's
what
cow, that's cow and chicken.
we'll see what terrifying direction Lonzo decides to go with the meow and cow offense that they're going to run down there in Clemson this year. So, you heard during the sports flash there, and I wanted to wait for confirmation because it is a story that gained some traction yesterday, but I was not going to report on it. And by report on it, I mean report on reports on it until we had some confirmation from more reputable sources. And then this AM, the great one pointed out to me that we started to get articles on places like the New York Post and Yahoo Sports reporting that the New York Knickerbockers had indeed reached out to one Dawn Staley, head coach of your University of South Carolina Gamecocks women's basketball team. But as I went and looked, a lot of the articles were the Knicks reportedly reached out to, which is when...
Sorry, I left that up. My bad.
Interrupting Cal says what?
What? I don't do requests.
That's my nephew's favorite joke.
Is it? Because I've never heard that before.
Interrupting Cal says what? Okay.
I hit it. It just I had turned
It's a dumb
it down,
dad joke,
so,
and I love it very much. So there were reports yesterday. This AM, there were more reports, but all of the reports were that Dawn Staley had reportedly been contacted by the Knicks. That's what you do when you need to get up a piece about Dawn Staley having contact with the Knicks, but you yourself cannot personally figure out if that is true. You say reportedly, and that way if it turns out to be wrong, you can be like, yo, that's not our bad. They said that they did that, so go blame them.
Or as a
Yada,
former
yada, yada.
host taught us, sources say.
Or just say, hashtag trust me, bro. Hashtag sources. Hashtag trust me, bro. I got sources on the other side. So, now we have not sources, not hashtag source, not hashtag trust me, bro. South Carolina Athletic Director Jeremiah Donati confirmed to On3 Sports that the New York Knicks did reach out to Dawn Staley about their opening. Dawn Staley confirmed that to On3 Sports and added the quote, "If I were them, I'd have called her too," end quote, which is a bar, Jeremiah Donati, and also correct. Not all that surprising. It is not surprising that the Knicks showed interest here. I think it's probably more along the line of just like, oh, God, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? We fired Tom Thibodeau. We had no idea. We had no idea what we're going to do here. I think they're panicking, which is why they've got names like Mike Brown scheduled for interview number 2 or 3 at this point. I have subscribed entirely to Bill Simmons' conspiracy theory that when the Knicks got good and they made the run to the Eastern Conference Championship, it's because James Dolan was out in Las Vegas putting on his fancy dancing shoes with the Las Vegas Sphere, which he owns, along with the New York Knicks. But while he was out there and after the Sphere had about a year worth of shows and the new Sphere smell wore off a little bit, at the same time, the New York Knickerbockers.
Does it? You know, people have been there. Do they have? Is it smell-o-vision also?
I actually don't know. I need.
It needs. I mean, as awesome as it looks, just seeing it on TV. I mean,
I'll show. I'll ask Decker. He went to a U2 show there.
I wonder if there's like wind effects and other stuff like that.
If U2 is there and they have smell-o-vision, does it just smell like patchouli in there the whole time? Like blast you with like a.
Smells like Ireland, whatever that is.
Irish Spring soap. I don't know.
Oh, there you go. I'm okay with that.
Potato stew. Anyway, so he goes out there. The Sphere is like the pop culture phenomenon. They run it. It goes then, have fun, whatever. The Knicks get good. Jimmy Dolan's like, oh, no, that's fun again. I'm going back to my old toy. You know, you ran out the shiny new toy. You find the old toy. You're like, oh, the old toy is pretty fun, actually. So he goes back to New York. And what do you know? At the same time that he gets back, the Knicks lose. They ask their star player, Jalen Brunson, is Tom Thibodeau your guy? And he's like, yeah, that's my guy. That's my coach. I don't want him to go anywhere. He's my dude. I'm playing for him. And then they fire him the next day. That's an impulsive Jimmy Dolan firing. And I know that because it's all they've ever done when Jimmy Dolan's in charge of this basketball team. And not only do they fire a guy who quite literally days before that brought you to the Eastern Conference Finals in which you lost in 6 to a team that went on to the NBA Finals and took the Oklahoma City Thunder, the overwhelming odds-on favorite to win the final, to a full 7 games. And I'm not going to say only lost because Tyrese Halliburton, their star guard, had his ACL pop. Sorry, scratch that, his Achilles pop. But I am saying I'm not guaranteeing they would have won with him. I'm guaranteeing they would not win without him. So you put up a good fight. And you turn around and you fire Tibbs when the players are actively saying, we want this guy back. And you didn't have a plan to replace him. So what'd you do? You asked five NBA teams, hey, you know how you have a coach who is your coach? Like today, like he's your coach right now. And you know how all of you are like either already contenders or like getting really close. You know that? How all those things are true about your team? Could we talk to your coach, please? It's like walking into a bar and walking up to a dude who's got his arm around her waist and she's got her arm around his shoulder, and they're making at the bar, and you're like, hey, listen, you know how you have this girlfriend and she's like totally into you and you're totally into her and you guys are macking right here in front of you? Could I take her over for a drink and a dance real quick? And then if I like her, I'm going to keep her, but if I don't worry, I'll send her back to you. You know what you're going to get told? You're going to get told politely the many different body orifices where you can stick parts of your own body at that point. Not great, Bob. So this whole thing is bad to the point that, and I thought about this yesterday. We didn't really go too deep down the rabbit hole because, again, it was just speculation that Dawn Staley was going to be in communication with the New York Knicks. So the New York Knicks, I guess I should say, would be in communication with Dawn Staley. But it was a conversation that we had for some degree because both Lonzo and I came up to similar conclusions, different paths. My take was there's a lot of pressure on Dawn Staley if she takes the job. There's a lot of pressure on Dawn Staley because if she shows up and she does not win, if she shows up and she doesn't make the playoffs or the team gets worse or whatever, unfortunately, there's going to be a whole bunch of toxic masculinity out there that's going to go, see, I told you women don't belong in men's sports. And I don't want to use cliches, but like set the movement back, right? Like everything that Becky Hammon has done and the what are we sitting on like now 8 or 9 assistant coaches in the NFL, all the work that these women have been doing to elevate their cause and their purpose for women in coaching roles in men's sports. Like if Dawn Staley goes and fails, a lot of people are going to go, they're not going to give her the same reaction that they would another coach that tries and fails. They're going to go, see, I told you women don't belong. But Lonzo brought up a point on the other side. The amount of pressure that's on her just to win because she's a coach.
Because she's a college coach going to the pros. And we've always talked about college football coaches going to the pros and failing. How often do college basketball coaches go from college to the pros and fail?
That's a great question. And because you asked it during that last break, I did my best to find the answer, or at least as many as I could come up with. Here's what you got. Rick Pitino spent 2 different stints in the NBA. He was with the New York Knicks from 1987 to 1989. He went 94 and 74, solid. He was with the Boston Celtics after he won at Louisville, won a NCAA title at Kentucky in 1996. Then he went to Boston, 102-146, sucked a lot, went back to college, ended up at Louisville and winning a title there. Billy Donovan Florida Gator head coach 1996 to 2015. I got 2 championships in 06 and 07. Went to the NBA, coached the Thunder from 2015 to 19. 399 and 313. 1 Western Conference Finals appearance. Now with the Chicago Bulls. 6 total playoff berths. Not bad. Not great. Not bad. Not great, not bad.
He's still like won slightly more than he's lost?
Yes, 399 and 313. So he's like 62%. All right. Brad Stevens, I'd say, is like the exception to the rule here. There's one more I'll get to in a minute. Coached at Butler from 2007 to 2013, 2 Final Four appearances there. Then he went to Boston, coached there from 2013 to 21. He was 354 and 282 regular season, reached the Eastern Conference Finals in 2018. Did not win a championship, but I would also say that it was his Celtics run that set up the Celtics run that ended up winning a championship a couple of years later. But a 354, 282 record's pretty damn good. So I'd say successful, not as much. Larry Brown is the only coach to win an NCAA and NBA championship. Had a career record in the NBA with the Detroit Pistons of 1327, 1011. Won an NCAA title with Kansas in 1998. Here are some of the other guys who it did not work out for. Mike Dunlap was with the Bobcats, 21 and 61. Reggie Theus, 44 and 62. Mike Montgomery went from Stanford to Golden State, 68 and 96. Leonard Hamilton was at Miami, went to the Wizards, 19 and 63 before he went back to Florida State. Lon Kruger, Illinois to Atlanta, 36% win rate. Tim Floyd, Steve Albach, Bill Fitch. Nobody really did good. There's a couple of other guys that could be mentioned, including Mark Dagnapa, though he was actually more of a trainer-assistant coach before he got to the NBA. Great question. That's on me. That's 100% my bad. Could Dawn break that mold is all I was going to ask you.
Yeah, you hesitated.
Yeah, I know.
When it is time. All right, the first thing it's Xing today on What the X is Bobby Bonilla.
Is it today?
It is today.
I went all this time and we did not acknowledge the greatest day of all the days, Bobby Bonilla Day.
Still a lot of money he's getting paid today.
Honestly, I suck at my job. Congratulations to Bobby Bonilla, who gets another $1.19 million from the New York Mets today as a result of a 2000 contract buyout, and he will continue to receive that for another 10 years.
Way to go, dude.
Seriously.
Good job.
In the year 2000, instead of paying Bobby Bonilla a lump sum of $6 million, the Mets agreed. Here's why Bobby Bonilla is fun, all right? For those of you who maybe don't know the background. Instead of paying him $6 million to walk up out the door in the year 2000, they agreed to pay him $1.19 million annually for 25 years. Now, Alonzo, you know me. I'm bad at math. But 1.19 times 25 is definitely more than 25. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's like the 0.19, but I can throw that away. Like Common Core math here. Get rid of the 0.19. Just do the 1 times the 25.
I'll take that 0.19 every year. You give it to me. I'll take it.
Or they could have paid him $6 million once and never seen him again.
Yep, they could have. They didn't. Way to go.
Hey, Mets, I'll never quit you.
All right, the next thing it's Xing is Debbie Harry.
Like from Blondie?
Yes. I'm just glad that you knew who it was.
No, I love. Listen,
yeah,
I love Debbie.
When
is
I
she
was
still alive?
Yes,
is she?
is.
Is it her birthday then?
It is.
Heyo. I'm gonna say she was born sometime in the mid 40s, so I'm gonna 80.
Exactly. She's 80.
Oh,
years
really?
old. Yeah.
Bang, nailed it.
Yeah.
Nice.
She was definitely, as a teenager, I really liked Debbie Harry. What?
No, I 100% agree with you.
And her music was great, and then she started acting. She was good in the acting too. So yeah, for sure.
Rapture was like in a weird way. It's not the first rap song I ever heard, but I think it was the first time that
It's the first mainstream rap song.
It is. It's not the first one I heard. I think it was the first rap song I heard that it was like, oh, this art form can be done different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And that started me down the path to find
Dreaming
Limp Bizkit.
is my favorite Blondie song. All right, the next thing it's Xing is TJ Watt.
Find you. I'm gonna get you one day, maybe next week. I'm good.
It's another stalker song. There's been so many stalker songs.
I think that is the stalker song, right? TJ Watt trending because, did they sign him?
No.
Or have they not signed him yet?
No.
They have not signed him yet. Super duper awesome. They have not signed him yet. And now there is a discussion going on that he might be trade bait. He might be trade bait at this point. They might go ahead and ship him up out of town because they can't get him signed. They got to figure out what's going on. And now they just added more money, and Jalen Ramsey did the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeesh. I thought he was going to be a career Steeler. And he might still, but was Jalen... If they lose TJ Watt because they got Jalen Ramsey, that's a net loss, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, Golden State is trending.
I think it's because of what we talked about this back in hour number one. Kevon Looney makes his way out of Golden State now. He's a member of our New Orleans Pelicans. 2-year, $16 million deal. Got him on the dirt sheet for a guy who's got not one, not two, but 3 rings on them fingers.
It's over Golden State.
I think it's over Golden State. I think what we knew is the dynasty is cooked. You know what else is cooked? This show. Come back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. But better, I hope. We'll find out. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. See you back here tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show when the fan upstate. Later. Are we going meow and cow or cow and meow?
Meow and cow.
Meow and cow? Yeah. Because the meow came first.
Right.
So
meow and cow. Yeah.
James, do you think, I was talking about this during the last break. You think Dawn hangs out until the Sixers job comes open? Like, if she's going to go, that's where she's going to go, right? Because I have to imagine she's got, even if Nick Nurse is there right now, which I really kind of Nick Nurse, I got to imagine that with all of the pressure and all of the knowledge of what being the first female head coach of the NBA is going to entail, if she decides to do it. Really, first female head coach of any of the big four, right? I have to imagine that she is going to want to create for herself every advantage and to decrease every disadvantage. And as Lonzo pointed out when we started talking about the New York thing, the media at New York are brutal. And the fans are brutal. The fans are awful. They're not awful, they're passionate. But also they're awful. If she goes to Philly, and this is a question you can answer better than I. If she goes to Philly, do the Philly fans embrace her as a returning and conquering hero? Does Philly look at Dawn and go, what an absolute icon and pillar of our community, so therefore we're going to give her patience and grace and forgiveness that we have not given to anybody else? I don't know. I'm interested. I don't know that she leaves South Carolina. Again, that school is willing to give her anything she wants. She's got everything she wants. They've set up the program exactly as she wants it set up, and to have it set up for her for as long as she wants to be there. She can kind of sign her own check, and she is not going to have that leverage, level of control, whatever you want to call it, at the NBA. And the other fear that I have is that whoever hires her to the NBA, if she ever decides she wants to go, the other fear I have is that the team that hires her is like, okay, let's make a splash, but also we're kind of nervous, right? Also, we're kind of nervous about making this history-making moment. And if they get stuck with, if she gets stuck with a GM who's like really nervous, really apprehensive about having made the right or the wrong move, and they get over-controlling, right? They're like, I am going to dictate to you how our franchise is going to be run. You just coaching game days. Then I don't think it works. I also think that if you are whoever hires Dawn Staley, your interview process with potential players, whether it is through free agency or through the draft, whatever, has got to be unique, right? Like, you have to figure out if you can get a read, is this the type of player who, and I hate that this is how it is, but this is how it is. Are you the type of player that will take instruction and coaching from a woman? Will you treat it the same way as if it was from a male coach? Would you respond the same way? Would you act the same way? Whatever. And if the answers to those things are no, do you not draft him? Or do you say it's just not worth it to have Don Staley as a coach? I don't know what the answer to those things are. I know what my answer would be, but I also know I'm Liberob the Woke Warrior. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Tell your friends about us. Lonzo wants to retire. So do I. It's your help that will help us reach our goal. In the arms. Okay, I'm not doing that. Bye.